Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the Copy. Right foot down. We got to go, Brad. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. Fix your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great. Ridiculous, man. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. Pick on, baby. Yeah. Holy crap.
Hey everybody, welcome to NWP tonight here on DannyBTalks. I am Danny B, joined of course by my co-host of the show, Jarrett Jasper Lundberg, Eric Estep, and Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. We've got a lot to talk about here today. Exciting NWP 400 last night over on IDK Players YouTube channel. I know a lot of you guys were there for that one. Thanks so much for joining us here again tonight. We'll talk about that very briefly towards the end. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Let's get into our hot takes for tonight. Jarrett, I want you to start us off. Give us your spiciest take.
I don't think this is going to be hot for too many people, but I do think that this is going to be a kind of take that people disagree with. NASCAR fans, historically, you see it in viewership, maybe not in attendance, but viewership and a lot of complaining on social media, which is not out of the ordinary. They don't like road courses. We have had 2 cautions in the last 2 races, 2 of the shortest races on record for the modern era. One that many people, and I think a lot on this panel, consider to be one of the most boring races on record. And I'm saying this right now. I don't care if it's Sonoma. I don't care if it's Watkins Glen, Daytona road course. Hell, I don't care if it's Rainbow Road. Road courses aren't the problem. It's the car. I am sick of people thinking that we need to add stage cautions back to road courses because this car, for all that it's good at, is not good at road courses as we look at it at the moment. And I think that instead of looking for quick fixes like people have been doing all week, they need to look for real solutions with this car. I don't know what it's going to be. It might take a complete overhaul because it's the same thing with short tracks. And I don't see people saying every short track is horrible now. It's the car is bad. The same thing with road courses, and people should cool it a little bit.
Not too bad. Not too bad. We'll talk more about this in a moment, but I just need to get this off my chest. I don't love Sam Mayer wrecking Ty Gibbs for the win at Watkins Glen, but I get it. I get that they made contact a previous restart. I get that they have a history between themselves, and Ty Gibbs has a history of wrecking people for the win. My problem's not with the move itself. It's the way people are talking about the move. I'm tired of commentators, folks in the media, fans not giving these drivers enough credit. I keep hearing people say, oh, that was an accident. Sam Mayer just wheel hopped and got into Ty Gibbs. Fuck no. He overdrove the corner on purpose, trying to make contact, and that's where the contact came from. And that's why he wheel hopped. So I'm tired of people constantly making these excuses, pretending it wasn't on purpose. It drives me up the wall. The number of times I've heard this weekend, people, basically pass blame off on something else, on the car, on the handling, on something else, when clearly the driver overdrove the corner on purpose. And that's why they wheel hopped and caused the crash. Sam Mayer, I know he has to say what he has to say to avoid getting a fine or a penalty, but I think he kind of admits he intentionally drove in hard. Just own it. And everyone accept that drivers are in control of their cars. They can do it on purpose. I'm so frustrated with the number of people I've heard just make excuses all week long.
If the rumors are true about 2311 switch to Ford, possibly adding a third charter team, they will become championship contenders within 2 to 3 years. Tyler Reddick, you have with the team. He's going to get more and more experience. He's only going to get closer with the team chemistry-wise, and he's going to find his way consistently. Bubba Wallace, he's never going to be a championship contender, but he will compete for wins every now and then, and he'll bring that much important funding. Now, for the third team, I'm hearing all these rumors and stuff. Maybe Denny Hamlin leaves. But hey, let's say Denny Hamlin maybe stays put or maybe decides to go somewhere else, like maybe to another Ford team if this Ford deal goes through. Zane Smith is the perfect guy. Now, Zane Smith was, we could talk about that. I think we can talk about it a little bit later, but Zane Smith put out a little cryptic tweet, a little cryptic emoji, like basically I think he's plotting, he's trying to figure out which cup ride he wants. I think he has multiple offers on the table. But if 2311 is the offer, he better take that and let front row rue the day that they ever let him go. So in my opinion, if all these rumors are true, 2311 will be competing for championships sooner rather than later.
Kind of fun to hear Darian talk about 2311 because I'm thinking about the Toyota teams, and there's a lot of things that are not clear about the future of Toyota, not clear if Denny Hamlin will stick around. It is clear that Truex will stick around for one more season. It looks like John Hunter Nemechek may be going, towards the 42 camp, or who knows where he'll end up within Toyota. I think we're going to see another guy get a chance to go full time with Toyota next year. He just announced today he'll be running a few races in Toyota and JGR equipment in the Xfinity Series. And I'm going to go ahead and predict Trevor Bayne will be back full time with Joe Gibbs Racing next year in that number 20 car in the Xfinity Series.
Oh, damn! I think you might have won.
Maybe gonna have to sell a lot of cups of coffee to make that happen.
Yeah, but no, it's great to see him back because I remember seeing him at a Nashville last year, and he got second. But
I want to roll back really quick. It's funny listening to Darian talk about 2311 championship contender front row. Darian, who isn't going to be a championship contender one day? Because I feel like you're saying everyone can. Like, will Rick Ware be a championship contender at some point soon?
I said front row would be like 10 years from now. So at least they're spread out.
Oh, you said it's like 3 to 5.
No, I said 10. I said a decade. The end of the 2020s.
Darian, what year is the money team going to win a championship?
2050. 2050.
Dude, the end of the 2020s is about 6 years, or is about 6 years off. Yeah. Like, it's the end of 20. What? That's not 10 years, dude.
Hey, it's close to 10 years. It's just past half a decade. Yeah. Close enough if you round it up.
Right. Okay, then. I mean,
I've left Jarrett speechless for the first time.
Because of the stupidity of rounding years that much, man. I'm 25 right now, but if you round up, I'm 30.
And hey, I don't ordinarily win these hot take polls, but I'm dominating my own channel today, so I feel good about that.
Yeah, you won that one.
Home field advantage.
That's easy.
Like
advantage.
Like that video clip of like Kobe and Shaq, and they're getting lined up, and everyone's like blank when blank. This is Danny win hot takes on his own channel.
Let's get to the race, man. There's tons to talk about.
There was a race.
Something.
There was a race. Was that either a race or a single file parade?
It was definitely one that Michael McDowell let get away from. I will say that.
Yeah. So can I go first? Can I go first on this? See, I did a whole video basically just talking about the problems of the next gen, and really quick.
I mean, if you end up going first, though, we might all have to stay in the same order, seeing how the last 16 laps at top of
it's okay, Jared. Darren, you can go first.
Okay, thank you very much. But anyways, I did a whole video about the next gens basically, and shout out to David Bell. He gave me some of his opinions on it. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So on some stuff I didn't know. So thank you for the info. But basically the problem is, on these road courses, the cars are so low to the ground, can't really slide enough. And that sucks for a place like Watkins Glen, where, you're used to sliding around in the corners and stuff, and not enough horsepower as well. So it's led to very hit or miss races on these road courses, and I believe what made them seem a lot better last year was the stages, because they got stacked up and they were able to make these aggressive moves and stuff. But again, I don't like the stages personally. I would rather see them get rid of them everywhere. But right now, I mean, just with the current car and stuff, it's, I can see why fans, were extremely bored by that race, even though there was no stages. So yeah, just another race, unfortunately.
It can be boiled down to the car is just too good. It grips too well. It corners too well. It stops too well. Like it was built to be a road course car. And unfortunately, what made NASCAR road racing great in the past was that the cars weren't built to be great road course cars. And for that matter, most of the drivers weren't built to be great road course racers. So you had more mistakes, and that just created more passing opportunities, more action. And I mean, I think, have you said it before the show, Jared, or you said at the very beginning of the show, the last 2 road course races, we've seen 2 total cautions, 1 per race. Like, I think I listened to, maybe it was the Teardown earlier this week. They said that's the first time that's happened since like, I think the 70s, I want to say, back-to-back races with only 1 caution each. And that's just because guys don't make as many mistakes. The cars are quite simply too good. They're built for this style of racing. And it's just, that now just it feels closer to sports cars or even Formula One. Those cars are obviously built for road course racing.
I think that I want to say we had talked about this when the next gen was being unveiled and when the goals of each track were talked about. And they're like, we want it to be easier to drive at short tracks and road course. And I think all of us kind of raised an eyebrow like, do we really want to make this easier per se? Like maybe races better would be like a better way, but they weren't lying to us. Like that wasn't like a really too much a spin. It does drive better, but I want to say it was Moonhead that put out where it's like, road course racing was better when only two guys were good and everybody else sucked at it or something like that. Yeah. And it's kind of what you were talking about, Eric. Like there's so many of these guys throughout the field, maybe 10, well, it's been that long, maybe longer, like 20 years ago. You're talking, who are the best drivers? Who would you say of Cup drivers are good at road courses? You'd probably say like Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, road ringers. Like that's
Marcus Ambrose, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Well, yeah.
That was about it. They were a little later.
They jumped in like about 10 years later. Now it's like who's good at road courses? Well, Ty Gibbs has just come up. He's good at them. Michael McDowell, he's good. Now we got Chase Elliott,
Austin Cindric, AJ Allmendinger.
They you see these guys and people are like, they're bad at road courses. They finish 11th every week. It's like, no, they're just, everyone's so good at road courses now. So I think all that mixed together, plus I think what NASCAR fans and I think a lot of us would consider maybe a little oversaturation of road courses. Because remember, there's 6 in Cup, but there's I think 8 or 9 in Xfinity. There's another 4 or so in trucks.
Yeah, that's
crazy. We just had back-to-back road races, which I don't remember the last time that was a thing in the Cup Series.
Last year, right? Didn't we do that last year?
No, because it was Indy. Then
I think there was like a 1 or 2 week gap last year.
Yeah,
I may be wrong.
Richmond was snuggled between them, but I think it's just, hey guys, let me in here. But I guess my big point of this is just that I think NASCAR was so focused with the next gen on making it perform better on what is really the bread and butter of the series, intermediate tracks and bigger tracks like that. That I think that the car it's fundamentally at this point probably needs a rebuild from everyone who really knows more about it than us. That you can't just quickly take a few things off or change the spoiler. Horsepower might make a difference, but even some of the drivers have said that's not the fix all of this. There's still going to be those underlying problems. Instead of putting a Band-Aid on it, you put a tourniquet on it. So I will not go out and say, yes, I know the answers. I have the stick of truth in my hand. But I will say I think it's going to be, it might be a while, and I think that the schedule changes in the coming years might reflect that.
It's going to be tough because the changes that need to be made are going to be very expensive. I don't know if there's a way we can go back to maybe having oval cars and road course cars, and they're able to make a slightly modified, maybe significantly modified next gen that is only used for road courses. And then at least you're not having to buy a whole fleet of new cars, just a couple. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's expensive.
And also too, I mean, having spec chassis, I mean, like this was inevitable. I mean, like the teams can only make so much of a difference. Like, even if it's like a tiny difference, the cars are also
more equal. Like you're saying, Darren, the cars are not only like too good at these tracks, but they're also equal to each other. I mean, I think 30. I saw a stat somewhere. I think it was 31 or 32 cars finished on the lead lap this week. In a race that had like no cautions. That's crazy.
I think the car I would definitely compare this to the next gen is the Australian V8s. Like I got a lot of those in my comments. And then after like just watching some races the rest of the night, I was like, yeah, you know what? They're right. They're right about that, So yeah, like, and even in their series, like I guess their fans complain about the way the car races as well. So got that in common.
But
what about William Byron?
Yeah, I think
Byron.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah. It'll look
Byron eye on the thumbnail.
I should have started this trend sooner. For every win he's got this year, I should have took the hat and made it slightly bigger each time.
Well, what is that? 5 wins? 5 wins now?
Wow. He has, before this season, he had never won more than 2 races in a year.
Yeah, and look, he's finally come to his own, and this is what we had asked for a while. It's like, hey, when is he gonna come up? And I know it's harder for younger drivers to make their mark early in their careers, but it's good to finally see him do it.
Since the Darlington race that we were at that he won, I mean, I felt like for a while he hadn't really been doing too much over the summer, and all of a sudden, boom, come to life.
He struggled to find consistency this summer, but I love our chat. They finally come around. I know the four of us, or at least I am not a big fan of the big hats. I think it's kind of silly. Ross Crashtain says, ugh, the stupid hats. Nick says, bruh, I'm over the big hat thing. Blue Jimmy fan just said, God, I can't stand those big hats.
See, hey,
Our chat is
Well,
they've turned on the big hat Byron quickly. That's crazy.
you know what? And I'll ask this, and maybe we put it after this poll here. But the big question, I know it is the case this year, but if this is a trend to come, Jupiter Rain asked the question, and I'll kind of modify it a little. Is Byron, when it comes to the hierarchy, would he be above Chase if this? I mean, I'm just saying.
If he wins the championship,
if I'll just say this, Chase and Alex likely, I don't think they make the playoffs. You definitely give him the best equipment if possible.
Well, yeah, then at that point, like, look, Chase Elliott won in 2020, but there's an old saying, what have you done for me recently? Kyle Larson, 2021 champion. And if Byron wins, this year, then, hey, maybe he might be, lower and lower within the team.
He's been a little inconsistent, but he's still been amazingly good this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think right now, Hendrick, they're all four. I think they're all getting basically the same. I mean, they're spec cards. I think everyone's basically getting the same stuff. They have access to the same information at this point. But if we're like ranking as fans, if we're like, okay, who is the leader at Hendrick? If Byron wins the title, yeah, we can have that conversation. But you also got to look at seniority. He's still the youngest of the bunch, least experienced of the bunch. I think you'd still maybe give Larson and or Elliott the nod, but Elliott's had a rough year. Bowman's had a rough year. So,
well, I think he's clearly above Bowman at this point. I don't think it's a debate, but
that's fair.
I mean, if you're looking at the numbers, he's putting up what I think could be considered a Chase Elliott-esque year. He's got 5 wins, 4 poles.
That's how many wins Elliott had last year.
Yeah, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s. He's first in wins, tied for first with Truex and Denny, or tied for second with Truex and Denny in top 5. So only behind, funny enough, his teammate Kyle Larson. Behind only Truex, Bell, and Busch for top 10s. Leads the series in laps led. I mean, I'm just saying that if Elliott doesn't come out swinging next year, there is a real case to be made that there might be a bit of a pendulum swing. You could also say he's younger, so that would just mean that the upside is higher. That could be something. I mean, he's 25?
Well, that's the thing. You could argue every other Hendrick driver has entered their prime. Byron's not, from an age perspective, an experience perspective, is not in his prime yet. So, like, this isn't his ceiling necessarily. It's what you just said, Jared.
Yeah. So I think it's a better question to ask, especially going into the playoffs and then next year. I think it's a way better question to ask that is going to have a lot of push and pull and opinion than people would think. Because, I mean, you could say, well, wait, what about Kyle Larson? Well, Kyle Larson's been dreadfully inconsistent. Yeah, he has all those top 5s. He also has, 6, 7 DNFs this year? Yeah, they're crashes, but every driver crashes. Not all of them do it 6 or 7 times in the first 25 races, unless you're Noah Gragson. But no hate, just saying it. So I think there's a real debate to be had. Hendrick Motorsports going to the future is in such a better state than I think about any other team is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, if your worst driver is Alex Bowman, I mean, that's pretty good. Like,
if your worst driver has 7 career wins, that's a good thing.
Like, I feel like Alex Bowman would be like a top driver on most teams for sure.
Like, there was a time where the worst driver, Hendrick, think of a Casey Mears, was lucky if he got 1 win in his career. Now your worst driver has 7 wins in their career.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good.
I also think the cool question to ask too is which Hendrick is better? The end of the prime 2014 Kane Jr., Gordon, Johnson, or this younger Hendrick with a better upside moving forward?
See, I think balance-wise, it's this one now. But if we're talking who's better, being weighted by 11 championships is a huge thing for that older period.
And Jeff Gordon was still really good in 2014. He obviously made it to the championship in 2015. Like I would argue like Larson, Byron, Elliott are ahead of Junior and Casey Kane 2014 Junior in case he can't. Although Junior was good in
No,
2014.
How many
Yeah,
more wins?
yeah, he was
Yeah, he had 4 wins that year. Never mind.
How many Daytona 500s is there between just that group
Yeah.
alone?
Yeah, I would go 2014. Hendrick is still a little better, but this group is catching. This group is better than 2016 Hendrick. Let's say
Oh
that.
yeah.
Balance wise, for the amount of wins each driver has, it's balanced really good now. But as far as what was better looking, multiple championships, multiple Daytona
Well,
500s,
but
multiple all-star
I'm not,
wins.
I'm not saying 97, 93 on up. I'm just saying like 2013,
That
14,
year.
15. That like little that year,
that run.
era.
How good were they?
I mean,
yeah, 2014 was the best.
I mean, if you're looking at that group, they had 1 championship in that span. You look in the last 3-4 years, Hendrick's had 2 now. Yeah, it's a different era, different format, but those drivers have dominated different years too.
And also there was like tougher competition, driver talent wise, back in 2014. I feel like
You could also say now the field's closer. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
because
a
of spec
counterpoint.
cars.
I'm telling you, these arguments seem stupid on face value, but there's real counterpoints to about any point somebody could bring up.
Yeah, I see. Like, I also like take like cars into some type of consideration. I mean, like back in those 2014 at the famous package, and now the cars are just more. I mean, they're spec cars, so it's going to provide more parity. So I don't know. I'd still go with 2014.
I'd
just
lean there, but
you had to be a man's man to drive those cars, man. Oof.
I mean, I'd lean there, but I mean, at the same time, that upside that this current team has.
Oh yeah, no question.
It'd take a lot, I think, to derail this train full term.
Yeah, no question. I mean, yeah, no question. They definitely have more potential to be greater and stuff because they're younger. But yeah, a prime 2014 Hendrick. Oh man, those are good. Those are the days.
And then we got Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson this weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're saying a lot of positive things about Hendrick. We do have to cover the one big negative.
I would like to get this out the way really quick. Alan Gustafson has accomplished a lot in his career. Do not discredit everything he's done.
He does not need to be fired, you idiots.
Yeah, like 38 wins and a champion. That's a Hall of Fame career. Like,
oh yeah,
what are you talking about?
I think the Chase Elliott fans, they're justifiably angry. They're looking for someone to put that anger or something to put that anger towards. I think you just got to put it on the whole team. I think the whole 9 team effed up. And I apologize for cursing earlier. I'm going to try to be better now. I was so amped up at the start of the show.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. My channel's demonetized now.
I'm so sorry, Danny. But the whole team effed up this weekend. Chase Elliott effed up in qualifying. I mean, he was pretty hard on himself afterwards. That was on him. And qualifying is hugely important at Watkins Glen. And then whether it was the Hendrick engineers, Alan Gustafson, a mix of both, they effed up on Sunday, not knowing how much fuel was in the reserve tank. So it was just an all-around mistake-prone weekend for the 9 team when they couldn't afford it.
I think it was, I want to say it might have been Dale Jr. It was a driver, I know. But somebody had said, like, let's not put all this on the team. It might have been, maybe it was Dale Jarrett or Kyle Petty. I don't know. It was an older driver, though. Somebody who has experience in this kind of situation. And then I said, don't put all this blame on the team alone. The driver should know 3 laps of reserve fuel is not something that happens. Like you don't put something like into the car that changes that much. I just think that right now come on. I mean, when have you ever heard that? Don't worry, buddy. We got 7.5 miles of reserve fuel in the car.
Well, I'm not a driver. Maybe Chase Elliott should have keyed up the mic and gone, hey, are you sure about that, Al? But like the driver, your job is to drive. Like it's Alan Gustafson and the Hendrick engineers, folks at the shop in Charlotte. It's their job to know that stuff. Chase Elliott's not supposed to care about that number. So I don't agree with that. Chase Elliott shouldn't be worried about, wait, did I hear you correctly? 3 gallons, 3 laps? No, he's driving the car.
But I mean,
that's not his job.
7.5 miles, if my math serves me correct, is like 5 extra laps at a Kansas. I mean, that's astronomically way past where it is. Either way, it's inexcusable, I think, is the bottom line. But
no, that's true.
This team's a mess right now. It's like they're folding under the pressure, and honestly, I don't think they need to have any pressure on them. They missed a bunch of races. They, some of them self-inflicted, one of them at least. I don't see why they would put a bunch of pressure on it. Yeah, you got a streak to keep alive of making it every year, but at that point, you kind of knew that, he could point his way in, but he'll probably need to win. It's still going to kind of take a minor miracle to make it. I think they're in their own heads. I'll say the fire Alan Gustafson crowd, I'm not on it now, but if he has an awful year next year, I'll start to consider it.
Sure. I agree. They need one more bad year for me to consider splitting that group up. Can I just say this, and this is going to piss some people off. Can we now finally take a step back? And I'm not saying this is, I felt this way, but a lot of fans love to discredit Kyle Busch's 2015 championship. Can we take a step back and appreciate that, hey, no, that wasn't earned under this format. That was a very well-earned championship.
Yeah.
Like, he came back from injury after missing more races than Elliott did, had less of a time to get into a rhythm. And didn't he win like 4 or 5 races before the playoffs even began?
And Chase failed to stick to the script.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, what Chase Elliott had to do this year was hard. So what Kyle Busch did in 2015 was very impressive.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up now. Like, yeah, so like, because I remember when Chase Elliott came back, people were like, oh, can he go on like a Kyle Busch type? But no, that's like rare, you know, Kyle Busch is him, you know what I mean? But no, that whole field deal, that was mostly on, you know, Gustafson, the team there. I mean, you got to know at the end of the day. I mean, I will put some blame on the driver though, because like, yeah, like you also got to be aware of certain situations.
People are saying, why wasn't this your hot take, Eric?
I think my hot take was, I think I was pretty passionate in my hot take earlier, but you know, I got to save some surprises for later in the show.
Yeah, that team, oh boy, like I know like some people are expecting them to just go into Daytona and stuff just based off of Elliott's history and stuff, because he has a history of like finishing, you know, second in these like Daytona races. We just said this
about Watkins Glen for the last 3 months.
Can we put
the guaranteed wins crap to rest?
That's what they're saying though. I see it on social media all the time, man. I'm like, it's not guaranteed anymore.
Yeah, and every NFL fan says their team can win the Super Bowl, and we all know that the Cardinals aren't going to the Super Bowl this year. Like
Cardinals.
I'm just saying, like, those are the odds we're looking at here. This is Daytona. Listen, I picked Elliott last week because I thought that he had the best odds, was the most likely, had the best momentum to make it. Yep. He had been doing better at road courses. They shit the bed. There's no other way. They didn't qualify well. They didn't race well compared to the cars they needed to beat. And obviously they didn't strategize well. So the benefit of the doubt given to Elliott this season, I think, can be removed and maybe used for next year. But saying that, oh, it's a guaranteed win, you know, everyone at Hendrick's going to be behind him. Yeah, except like if that 48's behind him, he's probably going to want to win too. Like let's not crown him into the playoffs just yet.
Can I just say how, you know, it is disappointing that the year NASCAR gets a Netflix show, Chase Elliott may not be in playoffs.
And they might consider like, hey, should we add that 17th playoff spot now?
NASCAR hates it for their guys.
Add that 17th playoff spot. But, you know, it's funny you say like it's not a guarantee. Like, obviously we'll go over the odds like later on, but Chase Elliott's the favorite.
and you know what? Fine.
Oh, man.
But how many people are the favorite that actually win? Dale Jr. was the favorite to win at Talladega how long? And he only got 6 wins out of X amount of starts.
Close.
Jeff Gordon. Like, you can be the favorite, sure. Doesn't mean shit.
They're all close, too. That's the thing. So, like, everyone's basically a favorite.
I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my chest because, like,
damn, that's been on your chest for a while.
I have waited it out because I've jumped the gun on people before, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to be on this bandwagon when over and over again I keep getting proved wrong. We have new data to prove us wrong.
And meanwhile, just we're not even talking about Bowman, like him being a favorite or nothing.
I still think his back's messed up.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Yeah, like me, I've been off from him since then. Since I saw how stiff he looked climbing up into his pit box at Darlington, I was like, no, this dude's not good.
The ambulance are coming by to save Bowman and Chase's seasons.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it might be too late, y'all. Y'all might be too late, man. But yeah, poor Chase Elliott fans. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a tough year for y'all, but gonna end.
It didn't help that we had a race under 2 hours. I mean, this is the shortest race since 1971, and that was a race that was like 200 laps at Hickory.
It was 100 miles in total too. Yeah.
To be fair, then to the 9 team, they had to be aggressive on their pitch strategy, and it worked in stage 1 short pitting. They gained like 6 spots, but with no caution. I mean, they were the only caution of the race. Like, they had to be a little aggressive. I'm sure that's part of what led to that miscalculation and mistake. But yeah, it was a short race. I know we're going to talk about the playoff bubble for a second, but I just wanted to mention, I don't know if anyone else is going to mention it, Daniel Suarez, he's not getting enough flack, in my opinion.
He choked. He choked
for wrecking on lap 6 and ruining his race when he had a golden opportunity to make up at least points on Bubba Wallace. Like, he was the one driver who didn't need to win. He just needed top five, and he spins out on lap 5 or lap 6, whatever it was. Like that was, I like Daniel, but man, that team, they cannot get out of their own way.
And I'd a boy to Bubba, man. I had him to suck. And, it's interesting. Scott Dixon talked to him before the race and stuff, just about, hey, just get out of your own head, about that mental aspect of racing on road courses. And Bubba held his own, man. Like, obviously, I know, passing was hard and stuff, but I mean, you still got to, hit your marks and, consistently. And he did, ended up with a 12th place finish. And he said afterwards, that is, the proudest he has ever felt at a road course.
Well, and
he got points in both stages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had a fantastic race for his standards.
He finished
top 10.
Kyle Busch. He finished ahead of Kevin Harvick, who was nowhere to be found. He finished ahead of all of Trackhouse. Finished ahead of Larson. I mean,
he was running in the top 10 consistently.
Yeah, and then that should not go unnoticed. I mean, I've been bringing it up because I think it's valid to bring up that he's had confidence issues. How is he going to deal with the pressure? And you know what? You got another week. Still can be proven. Oh, he finally cracked or whatever. But right now, it's looking like it's more the 99 team than anyone.
Yeah. You know what's funny about Bubba, though? It's like his lowest moment this year was at a road course, and his highest moment this year was at a road course. So that's interesting.
He might have a higher moment still. I mean, we still got Kansas on the schedule.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Daytona this weekend.
Daytona, exactly.
He needs a big weekend to lock himself in.
Well, unfortunately, we talked about it before, but Michael McDowell, man, he had a car that could win until it didn't.
Yeah. Now beforehand, though, the pit box thing, I think he was confused on that. I guess that was the whole.
He drove through like an empty pit box. I guess. I mean, you still can't go drive through 3. Yeah, that mistake. Then the pit crew was over the wall too soon later, and then the engine blew. It was just a rough day. But like, my gosh, imagine he finished second. Imagine Chase Elliott did run him down at Indianapolis.
I know.
Like, this would be back-to-back heartbreaks for that team. Instead, that win last weekend, they can kind of laugh this one off. They can kind of shrug their shoulders and say, we'll get them next week, I suppose.
Maybe this should have been my hot take. I still think this week was a net gain. I mean, they got a stage point or a stage win. They got that playoff
they did get
point.
Yep. Yeah,
that could be big at the end of the round of 16.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking to that, Danny, do you want to look at that cutoff to who gets 16th?
Yes, let's take a look at this right now. Right now, going into Daytona, we have got in 16th place Bubba Wallace plus 32. Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick, of course, locked in with William Byron's win this past weekend. So they are completely safe. Bubba Wallace is on the last spot, plus 32 to Ty Gibbs, who is in 17th. And Daniel Suarez right now sits 18th, minus 43 back. These are the only places where maybe there's a chance that we could see points get somebody in, but there's probably a better chance that somebody who is below this cutoff line without a win could possibly get a win and sneak their way in.
Yeah.
I'm torn on what Bubba should do this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys think he should hang back and just try to avoid the big one?
No.
Or should he go try to get stage points?
He
in the mix.
He should do whatever it takes to be in first or second the entire race.
Yeah, and just get those stage points. It's super speedway racing. You're not safe anywhere.
So I'll put it like this. I think he should ride around, and I'll say why. When you're looking at the way that it is spread out with them, Ty Gibbs minus 32 means that if Gibbs won each stage, even if he finished second, all Bubba has to do is finish 14th on the night. Suarez, for him, I believe it's finished 25th or better, and he beats Suarez on points as long as Suarez doesn't win. Obviously, go for the win, do all that. But if you're doing that at the minimum, maybe go for the points in stage 1, because at that point, maybe if you win the stage, well, then you have to just finish like 24th and 35th. And there are 39 cars this weekend, so it is a bigger field. But I don't think this is necessarily go for broke and take yourself out early when you're one of the better super speedway racers out there.
Yeah. See, I feel like he should hang back, but then I remember how hard it is to move forward at Daytona now with the way this next gen is. It's kind of a lot of grit. Atlanta a few weeks ago was a lot of 3 wide, able to pass, but I'm not convinced Daytona will be that way. So that makes me a little worried. If he qualifies 4th, just hang out in 4th and trust you can at least get some stage points so that if you do wreck out later, you've got those points to fall back on. Yeah. So I think I lean towards he should race up front as long as he possibly can. Yeah. But I wasn't sure. I'm kind of split.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Eric. I mean, like, yeah, it is harder and stuff. Like even Talladega, it felt like it was like a lot harder than usual to pass and stuff. It feels like to some extent, track position comes into play and stuff, where you come off a pit lane, just, stay in the draft and, just, moving back and forth with the lines, taking the lead and stuff. So yeah, I think, Bubba qualifies up front, just try and stay up front there, stay away from all the chaos. But, like I said, it's Daytona, you're not really safe anywhere, I guess.
Taking a look at this list here, if provided, because I don't think he's going to make it, provided Ty Gibbs misses, this is probably like the first JGR car to miss the playoffs in a long time. Is that a disappointment?
I think, let me see. Did Jones miss the playoffs his last year?
Yeah, or he misses. Well, he was.
I think he missed it his last year in the 20. Got replaced.
No, I thought it was Suarez that missed.
Suarez missed.
Suarez missed. Yeah,
but I thought Jones missed in 2020. I thought he missed that year. Maybe I'm wrong. He didn't win. I don't think he won a race that year.
When he won his Southern 500, was it in the playoffs or was it still not in the playoffs?
Oh, that was 19.
Truex missed last year.
Oh yeah, Truex missed last year.
Yeah, he missed last year.
Oh wait, he did. I don't know why I thought that.
I forgot about that. Yeah. It's
well,
still it would be a little disappointing if Gibbs misses.
It feels weird for that to be true because Truex did so good this year.
He's back.
I don't think it's a disappointment. He's a rookie. We knew there was going to be a bit of a growth period. I compare his year right now to a bit of a lesser version of Kyle Larson's rookie year. It was good. You kind of knew it was a bit of a long shot for him to make it, but I think the groundwork is there for him to be better next year and moving forward. And in Darian's words, maybe one day a championship contender.
Yeah, a true championship contender. But yeah, no, I think he did great, honestly. Like obviously there were a few mistakes, but yeah, he's a rookie and stuff, and he'll come into his own. Like just the fact that he's just he's the first guy below the cut line. That's impressive. That's impressive to me. In my predictions, I was like, oh, I think he'll point his way in and stuff, not clinch early and stuff, but 32 points behind. Now he needs to win. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I don't think it's a major disappointment. I only say it's a slight disappointment because you're this close. You're so close. Like, oh, it'd be so nice to just get those extra 30 points, whatever it is, and you're in. But no, I think coming into this year, I predicted he'd finish 17th or 18th in points. I think I had him as the first or second guy out. It's exactly where he is. So I would say this has been a as expected rookie season, but you're so close. That'd be if you can make the playoffs, especially just on points, which may not be in the cards now or is less likely now. Like, Hendrick made the playoffs last year as a rookie. It was by winning the Daytona 500. He was not a playoff car the rest of the year. No. But if Gibbs were able to point his way in legitimately, that would be. Right now he is 16th in points. McDowell is 17th in the regular season standing. Yeah. So that is pretty impressive though for a rookie, regardless. So I'm not too disappointed.
The standards have changed. Yeah, they changed since the early 2000s.
Spencer's making me laugh, saying, "Grandpa, people are saying I'm a disappointment."
I love moves. I love moves. I love this. Short time.
I think the future is very bright for Ty Gibbs, and I'll say this: I don't think he's gonna win the championship next year. But look out! We saw him. What the difference was of him returning to different racetracks, and how he was performing better at different ones. Now he's starting to get more top fives. You can tell he's a very good road course racer. I don't think this weekend. Spoiler alert: he's not my pick to win this weekend. I think he's good. I think he can get up there, but I don't think he's as attuned to the draft as a lot of these veterans and drivers who have raced this car more.
Once we cleared Pocono, which is where it made basically a year since he'd been driving a cup car, and I kind of said maybe he would start to improve once he had a full year of experience. And actually, I think when we did that, he has started to show better results.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 2 top 5s since Pocono.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's going to be a slow process. I think it's a little more difficult with this car to do, better, but I'm excited. And I know people don't like him. We'll talk about that with the Xfinity race pretty quick. But man, I love it because it gets the best and worst out of all the different drivers and fans. So that's my take on it. I want to keep moving. Let's get to this Xfinity race pretty soon here.
Yes. Before we do that, we got to talk about what the eyeballs gave us. What was the TV ratings for this one? And for this race at Watkins Glen, we saw a 1.3 on the rating scale, which is down 13% from a year ago, and we saw 2.31 million viewers watching this race. That's down 10% from a year ago, but this is actually up 9% from the 2021 race in viewership. And in the key demographic between 18 to 49 years old, we were about 24% in that key demographic. Now, as for Darian, this is one of yours.
Yes, sir. The famous iceberg poll.
Well, in that, there was 7% saying it was great and 24 good, so 31%. 45% saying average, 15 below average, 9 bad. So 31% net positive, 24% net negative, which is not normal for our audience to be that negative about a race. I do want to really quick about the ratings part. Last year also did have that huge bump up from a bit of a delay and Kimi Räikkönen being in. And before 2020, I believe most of the Watkins Glen races were on NBC. So to be fair, it was not the worst in the world. It's not disaster like many are saying, but I do question having 2 road course races right before a Saturday night race to end out the season. I think if you're going to have races leading up, you maybe have ones that would lead up a little better in ratings, like Brickyard 400, which might come back. That could happen. I'm just saying, but so I don't want the chat going too nuts with it. And by the way, ringtone ain't probably gonna be a thing this weekend. But as for this past weekend, I'd asked what people thought of the 2023 Goal Bowling at the Glen, and the first comment was shocker from Spencer. Positive, negative, or meme?
Meme.
Negative.
Bad seasons. Chase Elliott, 2023.
Kind of meme. It plays on Darian's channel.
Hey, shout out
It was
to
a
my
negative
video
meme.
series.
Shout out to myself.
Looking at the comments, top one, at least on my end, was from Mr. Mateus, I think it is, saying, wasn't the best Watkins Glen race, but I had a good time. Utterly baffled how Chase's crew screwed that fuel estimation up so badly.
Baffled.
Let's see. MJS Ultimate. If Michael McDowell doesn't get penalties or implode, he has a legit shot to win this race.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Blue Jimmy says, I had such higher expectations for this race, but man, this race was a letdown. The road course package needs some serious work.
So there's the short tracks too.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got through here. Vincent Odom says, as much as it sucks about chasing his team just blowing it away, growing up a Gordon fan, I'm always happy to see the 24 win, so it's not all that bad. And he has a Chase Elliott profile pick, so you know that what this, by the way, what this poll proves is that not all Hendrick wins get automatically voted up. I saw people saying that William Byron is the Sunday version of Monday Truex. He wins the boring Monday races. Byron wins the boring Sunday or, well, Martinsville Saturday night races. Well, speaking of somebody who's a Truex fan, JGR for Life says, I thought the first stage was really good. Then the rest of the race was a snoozer.
Fair enough.
Honestly, that's where I was. I thought this first stage had intrigue, and this is not me being a biased McDowell fan. I thought there was actual intrigue in the race. And then the caution that came out didn't fall at the right time to really shake up any strategy. And
it was intriguing because Larson, who I think also had a car capable of winning, was still in contention. McDowell and Byron both in contention, and Elliott, through strategy partially, was bubbling towards the front. So I was very intrigued the first like 20 or 30 laps, and then it just kind of went downhill.
I also got to say that caution was deflating because I so wanted to see it once, just that caution-free race. And we got past halfway. We had the longest green flag start ever to a Watkins Glen race in NASCAR. And then it sort of just puttered out of fuel.
Instead of the saying from cars, you needed them saying, "You need gas, you idiot."
Could have been caution free. Thanks, guys.
Ian Perez says clean and fast, which I'll say this, good on NASCAR for not throwing some BS debris caution and letting it play out naturally. Let's see another one. Let's see. People, you guys got to learn how to type in English. Like, it's English, but it's not legible English.
It's NASCAR English.
One has hot take. Alan Gustafson will be out as Elliott's crew chief and replaced by Greg Ives.
No, he will not.
What the hell? Of all the crew chiefs?
Greg Ives is done.
Bro, yeah.
He went to France and that was it. He wanted one trip this year.
Yeah, of all the crew chiefs to name. Oh my God.
By the way, we had over 400 comments, and for I'll just say this, for a Watkins Glen race, that says a lot of how much people dislike this race for the most part.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're venting.
I have made it down to the gutter. So, the first one's from Peter, who simply says boring. The second is from Racing 85, who I'm assuming is, from his comment, is not watching for the racing, who says it sucked, not one wreck.
Wow. Oh, there you go. There we go.
And then bad race and bad winner, says Jonas Stuff. NASCAR needs to go back to 2 road courses a year until they fix this horrible road course package.
Okay, well, I agree with that. Yeah.
Then that's the poll.
All right. And that'll conclude this edition of The Poll, the famous iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
And
alrighty.
So, Xfinity, right?
Yep, let's get into the Xfinity Series race. Sam Mayer gets his second win. This is the second win, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Second career win. Second win of the season. Yeah. Second road course win.
Another one where he had some controversy to win it.
Oh, yeah.
Have both of his wins come with last lap passes?
Yes.
Last lap controversial road course victories.
Yeah.
Xfinity Blaney, I guess. Controversial close wins.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to be at the right place at the right time, or Will Hop, the first place guy.
Yeah, you already kind of heard my take on this. Like, I don't like wrecking someone for the win. Like, so I'll put it this way. I don't think what Gibbs did to Mayer on the previous restart justified getting just taken out like that. But you consider Ty Gibbs's history, and you consider his history with Sam Mayer, and I'm not going to be too upset with Sam Mayer for that move. I think that was, that's what the Xfinity Series is when you get those two guys up front. I don't really blame him for it too bad. I just hate all the people saying, oh, he wheel hopped. It was just an accident. No, he saw it was the 54, intentionally drove it in too hard, and that's what caused the wheel hop. He intentionally made contact with Gibbs. Maybe he didn't mean to spin him, but he meant to hit him. And at that point, whatever happens is on you.
He meant to hit him.
4. I loved it. I'm sorry, man. I loved every bit of that because Ty Gibbs now has went from the guy everyone hates in the Xfinity Series to a bushwhacker. There is that. And that I love that Sam Mayer brought that up in his post race. I love the passive aggressiveness. As someone from the Midwest, passive aggressiveness is a type of language, and we speak it very well. And it's pretty damn clear that Sam Mayer, he learned well up in Wisconsin with his interviewer. He's like, it sucks to wheel hop like that, but I think the fans can agree we're all fine with an Xfinity regular winning that race. I'm like, love it. And then Ty Gibbs turning around and being like, I think he has more starts than me. I'm glad he got a second win. I wish I could have got my 13th. I'm like, yes, I love this.
I thought their interviews were fantastic. I just did it. I saw some people didn't like Ty Gibbs's comments like, hey, you're above taking shots at Xfinity drivers. And I'm like, Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer are like the same age. They grew up racing ARCA together, going back and forth. They raced Xfinity together. Gibbs clearly separated from Mayer, and now one's in Cup, one's like, it's not Kevin Harvick taking a shot at Ross Chastain at Darlington like in 2018. These are two guys that have raced together for 4 or 5 years now, very much rivals on the track and off. Like, I don't know. I liked, like you're saying, Jared, I liked the little sort of passive aggressive shots that they made. I thought both their interviews were clever and good TV.
And they got history too. You got to take that into account too. I mean, just remember the fight last year, but yeah, he didn't mean to wreck him, but he was going to hit him. Yeah. And he was going to hit him, just based on the history, based on the rivalry. But also too, one comment that I didn't think really got talked about. Because Austin Hill was involved in that little fiasco. And after the race, he said, Sam Mayer can kiss my ass.
Yeah, Mayer's made a second enemy on accident there. I don't know that. That's the risk you take when you intentionally wheel hop into turn one.
Look, I don't know about you. Like, I feel like Austin Hill's like this generation's Ryan Newman. We're like, he's the last guy you want to like, piss
That's
off.
fair.
Like.
It kind of looks like Ryan Newman.
He is a big guy in person.
And we saw the the right hook.
Yeah, was
too.
it Maya Snyder? He
Yep,
punched
he
him the
got
next
yeah,
week?
and this is why sometimes when another guy says, "Hey, leave me alone," you leave him alone. That's what happens.
See, Darian, this is why you gotta be careful who you're jinxing out there, because you never know when Austin Hill. Bam, bam.
Oh boy,
If
bro.
someone can, I know we do this every now and then. What that punch? If somebody can sync that up, where you see the wind up and you go, "Somebody once told me," like if somebody do that and tag me, I'll retweet it immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Or have Ocean Man playing in the background. I don't know. I feel like Ocean Man goes with everything.
I do want to say I don't like when crew chiefs and spotters come over the radio and try to egg their driver on to like go get somebody. Like that.
Why?
Sam Mayer's team did that to him after the previous restart. Like, I don't remember what they said. They're like, oh, you saw what he did to him. Like, don't let him get away with that. That kind of. I don't really.
No,
I don't really.
But why
like it.
though?
No,
why though?
But I didn't think that they did. I thought when Kevin Hamlin was saying, "Be honest, like we would have done the same thing to him on that restart. Just go get it this time." Like it.
Yeah,
I read
that's
it
true.
as
It
him
wasn't.
being
It
more
wasn't as
calm.
bad as others. I just wanted to mention it's a slippery stuff. Like I just don't like because we've heard in the past. I guess no. Who was it? Was it Allmendinger who came over the radio a couple weeks ago and vowed revenge? I guess that's different when the driver does it. But I feel like we've heard the crews come over the radio in recent months and say like, "You need to go like settle this right now." It's like you can't say that. For one, NASCAR's listening; they could discipline you. But two, I just don't like let the drivers in his own little world, let him handle it. That's how I feel in those cases. But you're right. In this case, it wasn't that bad.
And it's the same with fights too. I don't know. I hate when these crews try to get involved or like let them fight for a little bit and then go.
Well,
Cool.
friend of the show, Baloney Burgers in the chat, and his comment's beautiful. He says Austin Hill goes bear hunting with a switch.
And then Daniel says Austin Hill sent Myatt Snyder to the Shadow Realm. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I'm sorry, I saw that and immediately I'm like, take it out of the moment. This is funny.
Austin Hill once called Chuck Norris to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I misheard the radio. A couple people are saying I heard it wrong. I guess maybe I did. What I heard,
Oh.
I thought I heard the right one. It was borderline, is what I thought.
Mm.
But you're right. It wasn't as bad. It's not like they were telling him to go wreck him. It just sounded like it was.
But yeah, no. you
Trying
gotta
to
be
tell the
careful.
driver to go do something. And it's like the driver's going to go do something if they want to. I don't
Yeah.
want the.
You got to be careful though.
I will
'cause
say
you might get fined.
that win was probably really nice for Dale Jr., who watched the other three of his cars crash in one of the final wrecks out of the bus stop. I think there's 11 cars in that wreck.
And side note, we know Brandon Jones has been whatever this year, but how does Josh Berry feel at this point that Sam has got 2 wins and he hasn't yet?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty good. He's
Who
going
would have
to
guessed
Cup.
that?
He's pretty
Yeah.
good. He's going to Cup.
Yeah,
would've guessed that?
he's probably also checked out at this point.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, when I guessed that.
Yeah, I had fun with it. I think it was a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Well, we're actually ahead of schedule. We're actually before the top of the hour, but we're going to go ahead and line this up for since we are ahead of schedule, can we make it huh?
We can just get them at the end. We got a ton of stuff in the second half of the show.
Okay.
All right. What's
Well,
next?
we will read your super chats later then.
All right.
Well, no, we got
What's next?
3 minutes. I'm just saying we don't need to we can just do the normal.
Oh, I thought you were saying don't do it now.
No,
No.
dude, it's your channel. Run the show.
I was like, okay, I just
That's
guess I won't be
different.
doing it.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay, anyone got to time me?
I got you.
Okay. NASCAR's on 2414. Appreciate the $9.99. Hey, NWP group. Thanks, guys, for all you do for us fans. Eric, have fun in Daytona. Jarrett, nice job on NWP 400 race. Danny and Darian, hi. I will send a 2025 NASCAR schedule to your email eventually.
For sure. That's good.
Send it in. We'll look it over sometime. Davy Jones, appreciate the $4.99. Jarrett Lundberg, you owe me a soul, and it's time to pay up. Finish the NASCAR romance novel, and don't give me the 2 chapters
Oh.
PS, or it's the locker for you.
Go to
Oh
hell.
no.
The locker for you.
Or-
Go to hell.
Go to Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
Jimmy Leos, appreciate you being a member for 3 months as part of Danny B Super Fans. He said, I thought the NWP 400 was great from last night. Thank you,
Oh.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Jimmy Leos, appreciate the $5 super chat. Hi, guys. Did you hear that Trevor Bayne is driving 3 Xfinity Series races for Joe Gibbs Racing starting this weekend? Yep.
Yes,
and
we
that
did.
one made a hot takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Palm Tree 82, appreciate the $5. I missed the last few weeks, but did you guys see Tony Stewart on Pat McAfee's show? And they were asking him about soiling the car at the Glen. Made me laugh. I did not see he was on
Soiled
there.
Yeah,
it.
I saw that.
Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
Soiled it.
Okay. Alex Love, appreciate the $5. Race was a bit boring. Yes, it was. But I got to say, I love that Valvoline paint scheme. I always thought Valvoline made awesome paint schemes. That is true. No matter which Hendrick driver it's been with, they've had good looking schemes. Palm Tree 82, appreciate the $2. Also, Sunny D Peach Mango is the best orange drink. I've never had that one.
Yeah.
I saw
that's
you
good.
polling the chat at the beginning of the show, Danny, on what their favorite orange drink
Yeah.
was.
I was asking because I was like drinking an orange crush. So like, what do these guys like? Spencer Purcell, appreciate you being a member for 26 months, part of Danny B Super Fans. Appreciate that, Spencer. Daytona.
Let's go away.
Also, burgers and fries all day.
Yeah. Oh, from Cookout. Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah. Need for Speed 5353. Appreciate you being a member for 3 months. Ty Dillon will win Saturday. I've seen the future. He's got the script, guys. The script has been leaked.
He's already decided.
Hello, FR. Appreciate you for giving $2. NASCAR needs to go back to 3 to 4 road courses, more half miles, or more mile and a half.
Oh,
Gavin
yeah. Go ahead.
Gavin Novak, appreciate the $2. Did you guys see Fox's power rankings? Questionable. I did not see their power rankings.
No, I haven't
don't
seen
pay
them all
attention.
season.
It's probably something weird where they got like Chase Elliott still in the top 5 or something like that.
They got McDowell at 2.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It should be number 1.
Sorry, my bad.
A Prada, appreciate the 999. Shout out to Byron for now winning on all types of tracks. 8 of his 9 wins have come on different tracks. Also, this car needs a 100 plus horsepower increase. Increase the power and the racing will improve.
Yeah.
One, that is true on the Byron stat, and that'd be an interesting change. Ross Crash Zane, appreciate the $5. Danny, I know you like trains. You must have loved this race. Absolutely, yes.
That's
yes,
good.
Choo all around the Glen. How much time we got?
Like 15 seconds.
Okay, well, this will be the last one then.
Speed run.
Jay Booker, appreciate the $5. Would love for Jones to win Daytona and then go to Darlington. A win, be the first lock in round 2. Go number 43. Okay,
Good.
so wants to see him win Daytona and then go win Darlington.
Jones and Locker? Davy Jones?
Oddly enough, it's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo as their profile picture, so it's still pirate related.
Oh my gosh.
We be
All
nothing
right.
without Tom Brady.
Yeah,
We
good luck with
will,
Baker Mayfield.
We will come back, pick up after Jay Booker later in the show. Let's get in. Oh, sorry guys, my phone's acting weird. It's been hot here for a while. I mean, we're getting excessive heat warnings and stuff, but now there's this other thing they keep saying for some reason.
And it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Well, I think Eric is the one that got struck this week. You're safe for now, Darian.
Thank God.
Looking at it, I'm really quick, before we go too far into it, I want to give a shout out to our audio listeners. I know we don't really talk too much to y'all. You probably won't hear it till tomorrow. But I asked you guys in a poll, and I ask polls every week, and you guys come out on the Spotify side especially. I asked how far they thought Michael McDowell would get. 26% said round of 16. 52% said round of 12. 22% believe McDowell's supremacy to go all the way to the round of 8. So I figured I'd shout you guys out. But yeah, they're on it, and then they know their NASCAR. Austin Hill, also somebody who knows his NASCAR, we talked about a little bit. And when it comes to where he'll be racing in NASCAR, it is again RCR's Xfinity program, in which he's in for now a multi-year deal, though that could probably change depending on what Cup stuff comes around. NASCAR is also they were in discussion earlier in the week. They now are going to be having a Netflix docu-series coming out early next year about the 2023 playoffs, and it's going to be with Dale Jr. as the executive producer and the team behind The Last Dance that's going to be making it on Netflix. I thought that was pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. That is pretty
Last,
good.
Last Dance was good. Yeah.
There's like 8 executive producers listed, including Ben Kennedy. So I mean,
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
it sounds like it's mainly NASCAR going to be producing it, and then Netflix will just be distributing it. But that's what's most important. Like the race for the championship show last year, the little bit I watched at least, was pretty good. I thought it was a very well produced, well made. Nobody was going to see it because it aired at like midnight on a Thursday on
against
USA
Thursday
Network.
night against Thursday night football.
I mean,
no one's watching that.
I mean, yeah. If one person made a video and put it on one of our YouTube channels, it'd do okay. But if you put it on Netflix, it's gonna kick its butt no matter what it is.
I'll put it like this: last year's when it was coming out, I watched the first episode. Then I think that was the same week, Darian, that we went up to Illinois for the fantasy draft. The next week, come down. I was on a Vikings post-game podcast instead of watching that because I was like, it's a Thursday night. I'm watching football. Like, I'm not going to.
Like, with that last year, the biggest mistake was them ever putting it on YouTube and then taking it down from YouTube and not putting any more up there. Because that's something that, honestly, I think could have performed way better on a video on demand kind of format.
Yeah, I agree.
The SRX is going to be back next year in 2024, and they have the dates down already. I didn't write them down, but I believe they are the last 3 Thursdays of July and the first 3 of August. No tracks are listed yet.
Not gonna lie, with those ratings, I was shocked to hear that.
Well, they did go up each week, but yeah, I think they were down like 57 or 52% or something.
Like they were in the millions last year on CBS.
But
yeah,
I think you're going
CBS,
to a cable channel, and
you're on cable now.
Yeah, CBS. Yeah, and Thursday night, on ESPN.
It was actually better than the same time slots last year. So for ESPN, it was a net gain. I don't know who was really putting it out there, but I keep seeing talks about, and I hope it happens, about the fairgrounds being back on. They should, because I think if you can build that right, maybe make it on Atlanta week and make it the first race of the year, I think that would be a banger.
Make it either the first or last race.
It had a good energy the first year when it was a championship race.
Well, and you had Chase and Bill Elliott against each other. That was something that I think that was missing. You didn't have storylines popping in and out. You just sort of had Paul Tracy out.
Kyle Busch in this week, Boyer in this week. I do think it almost, I'd argue, it almost felt like it became too NASCAR heavy towards the end there. Like the race I went to at Berlin, I think maybe 10 of the 12 or 10 of the 13 were NASCAR drivers with primarily NASCAR backgrounds. And it's like, obviously NASCAR is the biggest, but it's, I mean, the charm was when they brought the local ringer out back for the final couple races or something similar to that. The last couple races, that's charming about it. And you get more disciplines involved. I think that's what makes it special.
Yeah. And I think you got to also promote it. I mean, nobody knew it was back until like the 5th or 6th race.
Even if they need to add another car, I think they should definitely have that ringer back again.
Yeah. I missed the local driver.
Also, somebody who's back in the Xfinity car, the 19 car at Daytona, Bristol, and Texas. According to JGR, they have brought Trevor Bayne back.
Those are 3 really good tracks for him. Like he could win all 3 of those.
He has been long overdue for a win at his home track in Bristol.
Yeah, and he's good. He's been good at Texas historically, and Daytona. We all know that's where he's got his 1 cup win. So he's not going to win all 3, but like he should be in contention for all 3.
Spoiler alert for picks when that comes around. I'm going to be torn between Trevor Bayne and Dale Jr. to pick for that one.
I'm not. There's no way Junior's winning. I'm just as much a Junior fan as you and Darian, but that man is not younger, and he is. I think has it been over a year since he raced?
Yeah, he's a fossil, bro. So.
Dale, I respect you, but I respectfully don't think you're going to win.
You belong in a museum.
You guys have officially went to where I'm at with Alex Bowman this year.
Hey, put him in the Winston Museum already.
Oh my gosh,
Jesus. Man, now I hope he wins. I'm going to root for him. I'm just telling you now, like those 2 races and coming on the post-race stream, and I'm going to be decked out in Dale Jr. stuff and fully biased.
I'm surprised you're not going to that race.
Yeah.
I'm really busy, like all of September and October. But rumors are that Amazon and or Time Warner may be pretty busy in the summer come 2025 because they're competing for the summer series that'll be between the Fox and NBC broadcasts, according to Adam Stern. I know people are like TNT, but from what it sounds like, they'd probably put NASCAR on HBO Max. I'm not really. a fan of that.
Wait. What?
Yeah, they're talking about.
It's called.
It's the
Oh my
streaming.
God.
It's the streaming.
Yeah,
part. They're not going to do
I have
TV. Yeah, I
Oh
get
my
it with my
gosh.
internet, but I know not everybody does.
I know.
Let's be honest.
That's crazy.
It's a bit
The only
more.
good thing of this news, I mean, I hope if those are the two options, I hope Amazon wins.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the fact that it's two major companies bidding is only going to drive the price up, and that could, I feel like that will probably help NASCAR and the teams in the big picture.
Oh yeah, and also too, I just forgot it's called Max now. It's not HBO Max, it's Max. According to the chat.
Can't even get the damn name right, and they want to get coverage. Screw that. No, let's be honest. So if it's Amazon in a bidding war, it just means Amazon's just going to pay a little bit more, and
okay, I hope so.
Empire will consume NASCAR for 6 weeks.
But damn, NASCAR on HBO.
Basically, Jeff Bezos just gonna be like, how much you need.
Yeah.
And then last little bit, there are some rumors as well that have been floating around that NASCAR is really pushing for more big network races when they do have Fox and NBC instead of FS1 and USA. From what it sounds like, there's a lot of cable channels dying, and that's sort of the way it's going. Is that like pay for TV is going out quicker and quicker,
and really, like, no matter what it is, live sports, it helps out these channels a lot and stuff. So they see NASCAR as a consistent fan base. And
if I wanted a cable type package, I would not consider any of the major cable companies anymore. I would consider Sling or YouTube TV at this point.
Yeah. And then last little bit, I want to thank everybody who showed up last night for the NWP 400. It was a ton of fun. And Dean Brummett getting the win, $800 for then he also, I think, had to work 3 hours later, so I don't know if he's off work, but good job. I want to say it's pretty awesome. And the race
man's got a baby on the way too.
Yeah, congrats, bro.
So I'm glad the money went to someone who really probably needs it and at least wants to put it forward to some other stuff. But I had a ton of fun, and I said it at the end of the show last night. I'm like, man, I kind of want the next one to just come around already. I want to do this again. This was like a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you and John killed it in the booth, and I know the three of us had a lot of fun watching it. We were in the chat, and there was a lot of energy last night. It was a great race. It was fun. I was
away from the duels to the night.
Yeah, speaking of the duels, go ahead. Sorry,
I was rooting for a side-by-side photo finish, but like Brummett was the only car up front that hadn't been involved in a wreck at some point. So it was just they couldn't pass him. He was just too fast.
The entire time, he was the only guy I noticed who felt comfortable as the lead car in a pack.
Yeah.
I think it was him and Kenny Reel were the two that had no damage. And I saw Reel he didn't make the block when he could have. That bottom line disintegrated. I love that it ended out, though, with smart racing. Because there were so many kind of dumb wrecks that were in there. And we even had a crazy Bristol kind of thing where the caution came out when it wasn't supposed to, like that one time 10 years ago at Bristol. So I'm glad it was a ton of fun for people, and I think it was the most watched iRacing race, like concurrent wise,
of the summer.
I want to say of the summer. It might be of the year so far, because I know it beat all the stuff that we did for the Daytona 500 in February. So
yeah, and also one final thing, I wish I made the race, but hey, it was just as fun to watch it though, to be a part of the chat. That was cool.
I had the chat up and I kept looking over and seeing the stuff you guys were putting, and I'm like, damn, that looks fun. Oh, again, anyway, into turn 3 here. Thanks, John, for helping us put it on and having it on your channel,
and thank you, fans, bro. Like, y'all were crazy, bro. Y'all were crazy.
Yeah. What was our peak concurrence for it?
1462.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And also, for the record, we didn't put those ads. That's YouTube, bro. Yeah. YouTube does that.
Yeah.
We ain't do that.
But ton of fun, and I can't wait for more.
But we did put this ad. Hit the button, Danny. Hit the button.
No, don't. No.
I actually did.
Watch YouTube actually put an ad now. Watch them put an ad.
I actually did it.
Why?
It worked.
That's a lightning round.
All right, now we're going to talk of our friend. Let's talk of our friends with Adblocker. How y'all doing? Happy to have you here.
Okay, that was good. All right, turn it off now. All right, and conclude this edition of the famous lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Now back to the show.
Like, if someone really wanted to be mean, they could just click this button over and over. Like, I'm making money.
Yeah, they really could have. That's funny.
What do we got next?
We need to get off that subject. We need to talk about. We're getting very silly ourselves talking about these ads, but the season is getting even sillier right now in silly season.
Yes, sir. Future championship contenders, right there.
So it's been reported by Lee Spencer that Ford and 2311 have met with each other at Michigan. They met for the very first time. They never knew each other.
They met.
They never knew that a Ford existed until they met at Michigan.
They went to Tinder, or on the Tinder date,
or Wait, what's it called? Bumble.
Hinge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, they met with each other at Michigan. 2311 is possibly looking for a third and even fourth charter in the future. Good luck with that. And the rumor is that 2311 may also be talking to Zane Smith, and I think that's interesting. I've seen Zane Smith. He's been very cryptic on Twitter here lately, so Zane's got something. Zane's cooking. Zane's cooking on something here.
Yeah, I like it. I like them.
And if this happens, it would most certainly mean that Denny Hamlin is leaving Joe Gibbs Racing after the 2024 season.
Yeah, and that's even more. I feel like it's a debate of what's more interesting, where Hamlin's gonna go, or what's gonna happen. Are they gonna switch manufacturers? Because I feel like what does Hamlin get to first? Obviously, it's his team and stuff. But if he doesn't have a contract for next year and still wants to drive, that's tough. That's a tough situation right there.
Yeah, he said that he has a contract that he just can't sign with Joe Gibbs Racing until this 2311 Toyota stuff gets worked out. And that's taken a lot longer than obviously he wanted it to take. And I think now they're just doing their due diligence. They're talking to Ford. They just want to know what else is out there. Like, it still sounds like 2311 staying with Toyota, Hamlin staying with Gibbs is the most likely outcome. But man, it's August and that hasn't happened yet. And I think that's why now all this news breaking this week, it's just, it's spiraling because it is, we didn't think Kyle Busch would leave Gibbs. He did last year. And I know this situation isn't the same, but I guess we've been stunned before. It could happen again.
Well, what it reminds me of a little bit more than the Kyle Busch situation, because I know there was talk of maybe like a 1-year deal, maybe comes back, try and fix it up for, the years to come. Kind of like Brad Keselowski. Remember, we were all like, he's going to leave the 2. He's going to leave 2. Hey, he came back for a year. Well, wait, he might leave the 2 again, and then he goes and races for his own team. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he kind of emboldened Denny Hamlin. It's like, oh, well, 2 years later going over there, it's not throwing away my career. I can still make the playoffs, contend for wins. So I wouldn't be surprised if he signs back with the 11 for a year, but ends up with his own team in the grand scheme of things.
What's going to be interesting, though, is if, say, 2311 doesn't get a deal done with Toyota, they end up switching to Ford this offseason. And Hamlin's able to work something out to where it's like, hey, I'm still going to be with Toyota for 1 more year, because then the added wrinkle on this is, according to Lee Spencer again, Stuart Haas reportedly is open to selling 2 charters. And there's a chance that, their contract with Ford ends after next season. So like, it may not be like a Stuart Haas is looking to move from Ford. It may be Stuart Haas is getting fired by Ford. Ford is not happy with Stuart Haas's struggles the last 3 years, and they may be looking for a replacement. And that could end up being 2311. But they may not. Maybe 2311 signs a 1-year deal with Toyota. It doesn't line up because Stuart Haas's deal ends after next season. 2311's deal ends after this season. So like, there's this weird, like 2311 can't just take a year off. Like that's not. I don't think that's possible. You can't just like not race for a year. So I don't really know how this is going to line up, if things can be reworked. Like, it's so complicated, but certainly the possibility of 2311 buying 1 or 2 of SHR's charters and then effectively replacing SHR as that third Ford factory team, like that is on the table. I don't know that that's the most likely, but it's been discussed. I believe that's what these reports make it sound like.
And what makes it even more complicated is, let's say Hamlin signs with, Toyota again, Joe Gibbs and stuff. But isn't there like some type of, complications contract wise with driving for Toyota and then like your teams with Ford and stuff,
they probably wouldn't want him to do that. No. So that's what makes it tough. But maybe they could make an exception if they really had.
I like what you said though. Like maybe he signs a 1-year deal, but then they switch to Ford, and it's like, well, he's already out the door. I guess.
What if they treat Hamlin like, especially if this ends up going through, because it's probably going to get announced way early. You don't just switch manufacturers, go from one factory support to another without news getting out and without having some time to prepare for it. Do you think they'd treat maybe Hamlin like, and 2311, maybe 2311 get treated like Legacy is getting treated by Chevy, and Denny Hamlin be like a lame duck driver, like you don't go to team meetings, you don't go to manufacturer stuff, you don't do this or that. It's been done before with different drivers who go to different teams and manufacturers. It would complicate things, but in the grand scheme of things, it would give everybody a little more time to win on both ends. Because I don't think that Toyota is going to want to replace Hamlin right away if they don't have to, because they have so many options in the future, and they'd probably want to see how they pan out first. You have Ford it's going to be difficult because the asking price for a charter alone, from what Lee Spencer said, runs up to over $50 million now.
Yeah. It's tough. Nothing fits. Nothing lines up exactly right. We don't even know what FedEx is doing. Like, could that be complicating things as well? FedEx has scaled their support back.
Well, it sounds like they're going to do less races next year than they did this year.
Yeah, but like Gian, NASCAR fan says, I remember when that happened to Vickers, because they announced that, like, just at the beginning of the summer, no meetings. Yep, cut them out. Cut them off basically the rest of the year. Now, that would suck if that happens to Hamlin all season next year. Because he's already behind the 8 ball.
And he's not getting any younger.
Exactly. Yeah. Hamlin's is like next year, either he or Truex will be the oldest full-time driver in the Cup Series. I forget who's older. He can't just throw a year away. You know what I mean? And like, if you're Gibbs, I also look at this from Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing's perspective. And I know, again, I still believe most likely 2311 stays at Toyota, Hamlin stays at Toyota, but the chance of them leaving is real. If Toyota loses Busch, Hamlin, and by extension, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Michael Jordan in back-to-back years, like, if you're anyone in the industry, you're looking at Toyota, you're looking at Gibbs as something toxic. Like, sure, they have speed, they've got resources, but there's already kind of a stigma based on how Furniture Row went out, Levi from Racing went out. Like, you now know if you ever make that switch to Toyota, it is a high risk endeavor. And like we talk about this in other sports, a lot of superstars get coddled by their franchises because, owners don't want to be seen as the owner who's, disrespectful to franchise players. Because how are you going to attract free agents in the future? If you're a big free agent, you're not going to go to the team that screwed their last big free agent, And I don't know, if I'm a driver, if I'm another team, at some point you look at how Toyota just continues to fumble star drivers like this, and you question them. And like, at some point, Toyota may have a hard time recruiting good talent. I'll just be honest. That's where I think this is going. At some point, they will have a hard time.
And how does Jimmy Johnson feel about all this? Because he just decided to move his team to Toyota. And
guess what? GMS just shut down their truck series team.
Yeah. I want to speak on that for. Well, go ahead.
And to add to this, if I'm this driver, I'm not feeling safe moving forward either, because I've been kicked out before by Toyota. Eric Jones. If I'm Eric Jones going into this, I'm expecting to end up being not a lame duck driver, but if it's a one and done for Jones in the 43, and they get one of their, like, they get a John Hunter Nemechek in the 42, and then they get a Sammy Smith maybe in the 43 if Truex stays for
island money.
Yeah, it's like at that
time time, baby. It's coming.
Toyota gonna be looking at Eric Jones, be like, I thought we got rid of you.
And that's what I'm saying. Is Jones, when they were with Chevy and they seemed set up pretty well last year, it felt like, oh my God, this is what he needed. He needed this ride. He was gonna finally get that upswing. Now he's right back to where he was when he got jettisoned after 2020.
Yeah,
and he's not getting any younger either. Yes, he's not old by any means, but it's gonna be harder and harder for a driver who has not fully proven himself like Jones to restart, basically.
On the plus side, I do think they like Eric Jones. I'm not as panicked if I'm Eric Jones. Someone in the chat said, Jones should be looking for a new ride. No, Toyota does like Jones. They didn't want to let him go. They had to make room for Bell. It was a tough decision. But I mean, to your point, from what it sounds like, Toyota had a role in bumping Gregson. Like, before the suspension deal, Gregson was likely
he was
out.
Gone either way. He was
probably gone either way, and that was likely Toyota's doing. So like, Toyota's ruthless. To your point, Toyota is ruthless. And if they can't even hold on to Denny Hamlin, like, wow, like, there's no loyalty. Like, at that point, everyone at Toyota is going to be looking over their shoulder. Anyone who is thinking about joining Toyota will know that that's the culture. Like, man,
except Ty Gibbs, I feel like.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs is the only one safe.
Yeah.
But even Ty
yeah.
Gibbs, I mean, like there's a new co-owner at Gibbs. Like Joe Gibbs is really old. And, obviously tragic situations, the family succession plan isn't right now what it was probably always planned to be. And they brought in a new third-party ownership group. I mean, even Ty Gibbs, probably not anytime soon, but even Ty Gibbs, I would say at some
Down
point,
the
maybe
road.
looking over his shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
down the road.
I don't think we're gonna see a Kyle Petty situation with Ty Gibbs.
So I gotta say it like this, I respect the aggression, and in other sports, I think the aggression is key. Like if you look especially like NFL is coming back, football teams, they are ruthless with cuts, stuff like that. And maybe that mentality is being brought to NASCAR. They've won championships. Kyle Busch got 2 for him. Truex got 1. Tell me if I'm missing any, but that's 3 in 16. And if they don't win one this year, which Truex I think is their best shot, but is not a guarantee, 3 in 16 or 17 years. I'll ask you, I personally don't think that's worth kind of cutting ties with everyone left and right with great drivers who can still win you championships when given the right crew chief or team around them. 3 out of 16 with the drivers they've had, it's I think slightly underachieving, especially when you look at Ford has won some with Logano, and Harvick has been a championship contender with them. Chevy is winning so many.
And Truex's championship, maybe you said I might not have heard. Truex's championship wasn't even with Gibbs; it was with a different team that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So I think you're right, but I also just look at the drivers. Think about replacements that have come in recent years. Some have worked out great, like Martin Truex Jr. coming in house has been great. But before that, Daniel Suarez replacing Carl Edwards was a flop. Ugh. Eric Jones replacing Matt Kenseth, you could argue, was kind of a flop, although he's getting a much deserved second chance now. Like, is John Hunter Nemechek, say Hamlin walks, I still don't think he will, but say Hamlin's out, is John Hunter Nemechek ever going to be Denny Hamlin? Denny Hamlin's maybe a top 20 driver all time.
He's rare.
I'm just saying, like,
Denny Hamlin. Yeah.
Like, is Ty Gibbs ever going to be Kyle Busch, who's a top 10 driver all time?
Probably not. I mean, they must think like, there must be something to these young guys. I mean, they've had so many for years. And I guess like it's led to this moment where it's like, okay, there's going to be certain veteran guys who have been, done stuff, for years for us and stuff. But, looks like to some extent they're looking towards the future. So
just not every replacement is going to work out. I love Corey Heim. Is he going to emerge and actually be a champion? Like,
that's the risk you take, though, when you put in these young guys. That's the risk you take.
Well, and the problem, too, is that their pipeline had become so clogged now. You have to basically clean house, then try again. Now you're cleaning house again up the top when you got some people. I won't say clean house, but I'll say you're definitely having like a wall taken out of the house or 2 walls taken out, maybe completely redoing the kitchen or something. And now you've got to add all these new pieces in that somewhat unproven. Ty Gibbs, I think, is going to pan out. I think he will. But John Hunter Nemechek, he's very good, but he's very erratic too. Like that guy is probably in the lower series, one of the biggest definitions of checkers or wreckers. And then you got the other ones in Ford and Chevy who are kind of doing it more by the book NASCAR wise. And they're getting a lot more wins. They're getting a lot more championships, especially Chevrolet. And that's the one I think that Toyota's trying to topple.
But I will say this, though. This is all setting up for Christopher Bell to one day be the number 1 driver.
Yeah.
I think could. But that's not it with the silly season stuff.
Can I get to this first, please? Because I predicted
it.
this. I predicted this, bro. Like, and you know what? When Raja Karuth, when it was announced in May, and I was at the Indy 500 weekend and stuff, it was that Saturday when it was tweeted out that morning or afternoon that he would not be returning to the team and he was looking for all options. It was weird because I'm like, first off, this is a rookie. Second, I think he has some potential. And third, it's May. Like, we're not even halfway through the season yet. Like, what are we doing? So my immediate thoughts were, when you take that when you take that announcement and, hearing, stuff about, oh, they're cleaning house, they're moving, a bunch of different pieces within the team in every department. My thought was, okay, Jimmy Johnson comes in, the switch to Toyota, and GMS's truck team is basically a whole nother entity, according to them. They're either shutting down or they're going to find some, some other hot shot rookie to replace Raja. And, we got it confirmed today, unfortunately. So that team, 44 wins, 2 championships. gone.
It's been rumored a while. The first I remember hearing of it was when I was in the media center in Kansas. And it kind of like took me by surprise, and you kind of saw people like, yeah, there's been rumors, and then we started hearing about it at Darlington. Then you started hearing about it later with Roger. So I think this has been in the pipeline for a while because, it was talked about today and announced Daniel Dye already has a contract ready to go for a full-time ride with the team in 2024. So the best crash cameraman for Fox, because it seems like he's always behind a crash, will be back next year. But I am interested. I'm interested in where Raja goes, and man, I'm really interested in how Chevy fills the void.
Yeah, and also interested where Grant Enfinger goes too, because he's really good, a really good Truck Series driver.
Yeah, he's
Definitely.
in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, exactly.
How about this KBM picking up Grant Enfinger? I mean, have they said they have everything squared away? I think that'd be pretty good.
I thought they've already said the guys they have are returning next year.
But I'm saying though,
they could add a truck.
You can add a truck. There's got to be that void filled by Chevy.
He'd be the number one team for Chevy at this point. So if they say add a truck, you're adding a truck.
Yeah, I've heard Grant Enfinger has a ride. I don't know if it's confirmed, but I have heard he will probably be in trucks still for a decent team. I don't think it'll be KBM, but I've heard he should still have a ride. I
think Raja, I'd almost rather see him find a decent Xfinity ride at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he already has Xfinity experience.
I think he should win a truck race or two first. We've seen the improvement. Like, I know that people discredit the Truck Series, and I think there's good reason at times, but we have seen the improvement out of him.
Hey, just thought of this. Take Hocevar's truck if he gets an Xfinity ride.
Yeah, you got it. Obviously, I mean, and Raja already has funding and stuff. Yeah, I think he has funding. Like he's
probably got at least some
funding. Yeah, some. Funding.
Just swap his numbers. Go from 24 to 42. There you go.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Raja to the 42 confirmed by NWP speculation.
Yeah. But yeah, no, RIP to GMS though. That's crazy. Johnny Sauter won his championship in 2016, Sheldon Creed 2020, and now they are gone.
That
forever.
2020 roster had so many good young guys on. I was looking earlier today. It had Brett Moffitt.
1, 2, 3.
It had Zane Smith. They were really good.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's rare.
But I mean, it's gotten silly very quickly. That's the future. But Danny, I think we got a little past stuff to talk about.
One more time.
Yeah, so Darian was saying earlier that someone had the potential to eventually become the number one driver. And, well, why don't we find out who we think is the number one driver? Because we are officially going into the top 5 of our top 75 drivers list of all time. And number 5, unfortunately... Number 5, unfortunately, could not make his number of Cup Series champions reach the number 5. Just close at 4-time Cup Series champion in 1995, 1997, 1998, and 2001. Number 5, we have Jeff Gordon.
I know there's going to be so many mad Gordon fans. And
I love it. Yeah.
I'm not a Jeff Gordon fan. I think 5 is at least one spot too low.
Hey, I put him up in second. I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah.
I just say I think. I mean, the chat put him third, and listen, we averaged all of the top 5 too. So.
Me and Danny had him 5th. They'll probably be the most mad at us.
I'm just saying, don't be mad at me.
I just thought the other 4 were just based off their careers, just a little a tad bit better and stuff. Now I will say this: if Ray Abraham doesn't leave Gordon, he's a lot higher on this list for sure.
I like Sito makes a good point. Jeff Gordon looks pissed in that photo you chose.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a little bit of a tear in his eye.
That was just Gordon in the entirety of the early 2000s and late 90s though. He just looked angry all the time.
Yeah, he might have been younger there, but that's him after Jimmy took over his crown. But I'll say this, 4-time champion, 93, I think, Cup wins. I mean, 3rd all time. I mean, look at his accolades, guys. I mean, we have him right in front of us.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy.
Yeah.
3-time
Sorry.
Daytona 500 champion, 5-time Brickyard 400 winner. Sorry if I lagged out for a second there.
Okay.
I apologize.
You're good.
6-time Southern 500 winner, 3-time Coke 600. Like, I mean, not only did he win every crown jewel, he won them 3, 4, 5 times each. Like, that's ridiculous.
His first win was a Coke 600.
Second win, Brickyard 400 as well.
The one stat that jumped out at me, though, obviously he's a 4-time champion, and then the Chase era came around, and he had some good years, but never won a championship. But his average points finish for his career, I believe, 5.4. Like that's pretty ridiculous. He raced in some very, very competitive eras in NASCAR history.
His rookie season was his worst at 14th in points, and he beat out Bobby Labonte for Rookie of the Year, who is on this list.
Another champion, and you can't forget, like, the 1998 season, most wins in the modern era, 13 victories, like in the, towards the end of the 90s, going against guys like Senior, Jarrett, Martin, like, and so on. So many.
I don't see how Wonder Boy's not at least in the top 3.
He is definitely one of the reasons that Dale Earnhardt is only a 7-time Cup Series champion.
Well, he beat him, Jarrett, Martin, Stewart. I mean, that is a all-time list right there. If you're gonna win 4 championships, those are the guys to beat, because Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin in the 90s were up there with anybody. Some of the greats or greatest to never win. Stewart is an all-time great, and Dale Earnhardt. I mean, come on. But look at his points finishes: 10 top 5 points finishes, 21 top 10s. He was good literally to the end. Like, even when he came back, he was competitive.
Yeah, I've got him on my Mount Rushmore. I think 5 is at least a spot too low, but that's where it averaged out.
And in the Cup Series, he drove primarily the number 24, also drove the 88 partially in 2016.
We don't talk as much about that half season.
Can't forget that.
I feel like the biggest highlight to that one that people look back on is the blooper where his belts come undone, or they got like a top 10 at Martinsville. But 92, he was in the 92 Hooters 500.
Yeah.
He raced. I mean,
was that his first start?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he influenced the championship in that race. A piece of tape was left on his car, came off, and hit Davey Allison's car, which put Davey back in the pack. And who was up there racing and would have been in position to win it. He gets put back in the pack, crashed, loses the championship in 1992. So, I mean, he raced against Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Chase Elliott. You can link every era and year to at least one driver to Jeff Gordon, from the modern day of guys that have raced against him all the way back to the early 50s with Richard Petty and others that raced in that field. It's insane.
Think of it like this. Yeah, he raced with Richard Petty. He also raced against Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Damn.
Chase
Everybody.
and playoffs 11 times, made the Final Fours last year. Man, I don't know how Jeff Gordon's this low. I'm just gonna say it now.
See, the reason I have him this low is because I'm only a 4-time champion, though. You know what I mean? And I know it's gonna say a lot because I have a certain driver on my list, or who didn't win as many championships, but won a lot of races in the process.
I mean, if we don't have anything else to say about Jeff Gordon, that's going to get into probably my most controversial one. Is actually our next one at number 4. This man is known by 2 names. One, his name. Second, a nickname, that being the Silver Fox, David Pearson, who I personally had as number 1 on my personal list.
I can see that
as the greatest NASCAR Cup Series driver of all time. The reason I have him as the greatest NASCAR Cup Series driver of all time is that he didn't run that many full seasons. He didn't run that many races. He was a trophy chaser of all trophy chasers. He won 105 Cup Series races and was a 3-time Cup Series champion. The only full seasons he ever ran, he won the championship. And I think if this man would have just raced more often, he's easily above Richard Petty in wins and championships. I think this man just needed more opportunities to drive, because this is the best driver I think we ever saw, in my opinion.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, you make a good argument. But I can't grade hypotheticals too much. I can put some weight into it. Like there's some drivers on my list that didn't race for very long for, in many cases, tragic circumstances that I still put in the top 75. But, Pearson for me is 5th. He doesn't have nearly this many crown jewel wins like Jeff Gordon does. He's got less championships than Gordon and the other seven-time guys. But you're right. He only ran, I think, 4 full-time seasons. If he'd raced more full-time seasons, he would have won more championships. So he still deserves top 5. I mean, he is second on the all-time wins list. I mean, I'm over here trying to sound like I'm trying to discredit David Pearson. I can't discredit David Pearson.
Yeah, you can try, but the stats
stats don't lie.
Hey, I can just say why I don't have him at number 1. He's absolutely top 5. No question from me. I can't put him as high as 1 or 2 or anything like that. That's just
and I saw someone say we can't grade off hypotheticals. Hypothetically, statistically speaking, whatever you want to say, he's got some of the best stats I've ever seen.
Yeah, and longevity sticks out to me because first win, 1961 at Charlotte, driving for John Mazzioni. I think that's how you say it. I can be illiterate sometimes, but also won races for Cotton Owens, won his 2 championships with Cotton Owens, Holman Moody Racing, of course, the famous Wood Brothers, and his final win, also Rod Osterland, and then his final win coming at Darlington in 1980 with Haas Ellington.
Well, speaking of Darlington, he's the all-time winner there with 10 wins, 3 of them being Southern 500s. He has 3 Coke 600s. But I think the biggest highlight of his career is the 1976 Daytona 500, the one that he won. He was going head-to-head, mano-a-mano with Richard Petty. They crash off the corner. His car's totaled. Petty's car's totaled. Petty's crew, which I believe one of them included his son Kyle Petty, goes out to push the car, and he putters across the finish line at 40 miles an hour. He had less than half the starts of Richard Petty, and I believe when they went head-to-head, he beat Richard. And I think the telling part is I think Richard actually said that Pearson's the greatest all time. And when they asked, because he was being interviewed with Pearson, and when they asked Pearson, he goes, "Well, I'm not going to disagree with the king."
Hey, that's words straight out of his mouth, and that's why I personally believe he is the best one in my opinion.
11.0 average finish too. I think the reason he didn't race a lot of racetracks in the early years of his career is I think that in some of them he wasn't allowed in the state or would be in trouble. So
that's a very 1960s NASCAR thing to happen.
Yeah, so the Silver Fox definitely belongs up there. I think where did I have him? 4th, and people are gonna be surprised who I had him behind because it wasn't Jeff Gordon.
Ooh.
And so David Pearson, he is our number 4. Our number 3 actually doesn't drive number 3. He did reach this many championships, though, consecutively as the second person to ever do that. We're talking about
Jeff. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Danny, such convoluted intros.
He's got 7 titles.
We're talking about Jimmy Johnson, folks. Jimmy Johnson. Welcome to the show, Jimmy Johnson.
Wow. So we have Jimmy 3rd. So that means our top 3, averaging all of our rankings, are all 7-time champions. Jimmy, we have as the 3rd of the 3 7-time champions.
Yep.
I mean, there could be a lot of arguing back and forth on the validity of the different eras of championships between all these guys. But I personally, I'm about it. He's actually my number 4. I guess I must put Jeff Gordon or someone of them. I don't know, but I'm fine with him being number 3 in my books. He's definitely in the top 3. I don't know why I had him 4th now.
Yeah,
I'm shocked nobody put him at 1. Not one of us had him at number 1. I'm honestly shocked.
And I don't want the chat getting mad either. They ranked him lowest out of it.
Oh yeah, they got him 5th.
You can't be mad. Yeah, you can't be mad, yo. Be mad at yourself.
Well, and for all those Jimmy versus Jeff people out there, just know based on my picks so far, you've seen I put Jeff over Jimmy. So it's interesting that I know Eric's going to disagree with me. He's got the recency bias, but I'm just messing with you, man. But 7 championships, the only 5-time consecutive champion, then 13 and 16. I mean, they changed the points format multiple times trying to get him not to win. I mean, they could say they didn't, but it's clear as day they did.
And he won in every single one that they changed it to. That's well, except the consistent points one, of course. But yeah,
Well,
the ones after.
They didn't change it to that one.
Well, yeah, I know, but he won every other one they changed it to.
Yeah,
sure.
83 Cup wins, 2 500s. The thing I love about his Coke 600s is he has that one in 2014, which people forget about because he had 3 consecutive ones in 03, 04, 05.
Yeah.
4 Brickyards, which, wow. Man, he was so close to having a championship every Brickyard season. Damn, that's amazing.
But interesting. Almost an interesting fun fact.
I mean, his numbers are unreal for the modern era. I think he defined the 2000s and early 2010s.
Yeah, I look at Jimmy. Jimmy Johnson took over when he burst on the scene. Even his rookie season, where did he finish in points his rookie season?
5th or
and he was battling for a championship too.
Did not win Rookie of the Year though.
Yeah, Newman won.
Okay. But I'm just saying, Jimmy burst onto the scene and immediately was the best Hendrick driver. No, sorry, Jeff Gordon fans, but just like Jimmy Johnson took over that team. And my list, so I ranked my list on greatness. I have Jimmy at 2 because while I don't think Richard Petty, I'm gonna spoil that, he's my number 1. I don't think Richard Petty is a better driver than Jimmy. I think Jimmy is easily more talented, raced in a far more competitive era. But when we're talking about greatness, that encompasses a ton of different things. Richard Petty had the brand. He's built a legacy. 200 wins will never be matched, at least on the Cup Series level. I think greatness and best are 2 different things. I think you could argue Jimmy and Jeff are the 2 best, most talented drivers in NASCAR history. And so I'm just shocked that nobody had I think you guys all had Jimmy at 4. Did anybody have him at 3?
I had him 3.
I had him 4. The other ones had him 3. I will say this: someone pointed this out in the chat. It does help Jimmy that he was carried by having probably one of the greatest of all time crew chiefs with him, versus a guy like Dale Earnhardt had a lot of great crew chiefs, but never one just consistently always there with him.
And
that's fair. I mean, but Petty had great crew chiefs as well. I mean, they were finding learning.
Exactly. No. He was mainly mainly with one.
Yeah.
So I give a nod to Dale Earnhardt to do what he did, and then not always having the same guy every year.
Yeah.
Sure. So that's we're getting too far out of things.
Well, I'll read off a few of these major stats too. I mean, he qualified for every one of the first 15 or so chase playoffs from 04 to 2018. 2016 was his only Final Four. He won it. He had 12 top 5 points finishes, including all 9 of his first 9 seasons. 15 top 10 points finishes, led 1,000 laps or more every year from 2004 to 2014, winningest driver of the 2000s. And I will say the list of guys that he beat for championships is amazing too. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano, which I guess you could also say Carl Edwards for that 2016 one too. But still, some of the best to ever do it. The best guys to never win a championship. So there's a real case to be made for old 7-time. I'll say that.
I'm just shocked that we had him. I guess I'm just surprised he's 3rd of the 7-time champions. That is surprising to me. I thought he'd be 1st or 2nd. I'm surprised nobody had him at 1.
That surprised me. I genuinely, when I went through of the 7-time champions, and again, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, chat. Of the 7-time champions, he had the least number 1 picks, even from chat people too. It was not just the hosts, the chat, those who participated. Many of them put him 2, many of them put him 3, but I saw people, and I think there's legitimate arguments that put him back there in the group with Allison, Yarborough, and DW. It's crazy to me. I honestly, I thought he would. Yeah. I thought he'd be number 2 at least.
Yeah, I find the chat putting him 5th more crazier than me and Danny putting Gordon 5th. 7 championships. I feel like, the top 3, automatically reserved, I feel like, for 7 championships to me. But
I understand that everyone views each championship a little differently. That's fair. But ultimately, winning championships are the end goal. And going back to what I said earlier, my list is greatest drivers ever. You win a championship, you're in the Hall of Fame. That's greatness. You win a race, you're not in the Hall of Fame. You got to win dozens of races to be a Hall of Famer. So they don't weigh the same.
And I just realized the reason I have him for him is because of my David Pearson one, so I just forgot about that.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, before we had 3 7-time champions, there was only one 7-time champion for a little bit. Richard Petty, the King, is who we have at number 2 on our top 75 drivers list. The King
Perfect.
is just short of being
That's
number
perfect.
1 all time.
I agree.
7-time Cup Series champion, 1964, 1967, 1971, 1972, 1974, 1975, and 1979. I had him as number 3. Eric in the chat had him number 1. Jarrett, shockingly 5th.
Whoa.
And Darian 2nd.
Hey, you talking about that Gordon one?
Now, I will say my reason for having him 3rd is probably because I will say his championships were won in a far different era where it was just a lot easier for him and his caliber of operation to dominate in ways that they did back then. Jarrett, is that a reason why you have him number 5?
A huge reason. For one, he almost for decade and a half had, and this is way different than Jimmy Johnson having it with a good crew chief, or Dale Earnhardt having it, or Jeff Gordon or David Pearson. He almost routinely had the best car. And when somebody like of the caliber of Ned Jarrett or of David Pearson or later on Dale Earnhardt came around, they would routinely beat him. And that is a big part. They did not always beat him, but they would beat him a lot. I think I agree with you, Danny. I think that David Pearson's greater. And I agree that Jimmy Johnson is. And I think Jeff Gordon is right up there with them. And I think Jeff Gordon is. Spoiler, I think Dale Earnhardt is a better champion and greater driver. I think that Richard Petty is one of the greatest drivers ever. But I think that he, in a lot of ways, is also one of the biggest stat padders ever too. I know people aren't gonna like that pick. I don't care, because I really think that there are 4 drivers greater than Richard Petty. He's the king, yes, but there's plenty of other sports where guys that win the most, you can look back at older records and it's like, well, okay, but it was a way different era. There were maybe 3 or 4 competitive ones. We had this conversation with Kyle Busch winning a bunch of Xfinity and truck races counted as over 200 against them. And it's like, well, I mean, yes, they were Xfinity truck races, so they should not count towards the cup totals, all that. But they also were way better fields back when Kyle Busch did those in trucks or Xfinity compared to Richard Petty beating like 18 people in the middle of nowhere.
To some extent, I'll agree with that as far as the competition. And that's what I took into account with my lists and stuff, just about, okay, what was the caliber too? But then also on the other side, I mean, drivers can't control what, when they were born or, what era, they raced in. And,
they can control when to hang it up, which he didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But in his prime, though, I mean, like, look, his father, Lee Petty was a pioneer in NASCAR. He started the team. That was basically, the first ever first class operation in NASCAR consistently. Yep. And you know what? I mean, just looking at the stats, yes, there were, times, only racing like 10 cars in the field, or, what I mean? Like definitely 10, very uncompetitive machines, but, he can't control who he races, right? So, that's why I had him number 2. I thought number 2 was perfect. Yes, most wins, of course, but like you said, that is stat padded to some degree. Maybe a lot of it, to a lot of degree, I guess. But no, number 2, I felt like was perfect. Raced a very long time and stuff, and 200 wins, of course. You can't,
35 years.
Yeah, 35 years, of course. The most in NASCAR history, right? 35 years.
It's got to be up there at the very least.
Yeah, I think it's got to be up there, but yeah.
And oddly enough, Richard Petty had a very similar career to 7-time Piston Cup champion Strip Weathers.
Yeah,
well, and I also look back too, and I did this in my Ned Jarrett video where, if you look, a lot of the races that Petty would win at different times too were the ones that had the higher paying money, and those paid more points back then. If you look at statistics in different years, a Daytona 500 win alone would get you basically a championship because it got you so much of an edge over the field. And
Smart.
Statistically, just running in general, he wasn't better, but because of how ass backwards those point systems were, it rewarded him for winning a couple races here and there. I think he's a great driver. I think he's one of the greatest ever. NASCAR would not be NASCAR without the king. And again, his stats are insane too. But I think it's really interesting that back when the Southern 500 was the biggest event, he only got 1 Southern 500 and 2 Coke 600s too. So,
and one more thing, 27 wins, most wins of season all time. Yeah, in 1967.
He has records that will never be broken.
Never,
that's
never,
for
ever.
sure.
But Eric, you had him number 1 though. Eric.
He won those 27 races in like the same car that year, I think, if I'm not mistaken. No, so I'm not. What am I going to say here? I will agree that I think Richard Petty's talent as a driver is absolutely overrated. Like, I think, again, going back to best versus greatest, best driver of all time. No, he's not top 3. I'd agree with your 5th place ranking, but greatest. Again, Richard Petty blazed the trail in many ways. He set the standard. He showed you how to make a living at racing before really any other group, any other person or family was able to do such a thing. So, and you look at the 200 wins, sure, not all those wins are as fantastic as others, no doubt. 7 championships, the first to do it. Again, these are records that, especially the wins record, that are not ever going to be broken. The brand he's created, what he's done, just the team he built, and I don't know, as an owner, not great, but just the Petty legacy. Obviously, now Legacy Motor Club's a team. I just think Richard Petty, if you're talking greatest, he's got to be number 1. I could listen to an argument on number 2, maybe even number 3. But if we're talking best, if we're talking about most talented, I said it a minute ago, he's not top 3. He's absolutely not.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But greatest ever, I still got to go Richard Petty. It's when you think NASCAR, you think Petty Blue 43, you think the cowboy hat, the mustache, the shades, the style, the beautiful signature that he's still, it's like a work of art every time he signs something, even to this day. Yeah. Richard Petty is the greatest. And I have to have my number 1.
7 Daytona 500s as well. That's crazy.
And finally, our number 1 NASCAR Cup Series driver of all time. The man needs little to no introduction. Most famous for the number 87 Extends Toyota, Kevin Conway is the number 1 driver of all time. Kevin Conway. We where do we start about Kevin Conway, guys?
Extends.
He had a huge career, guys. This was just an absolutely huge and insane career. Just kidding. No, it was Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I can't do this any longer. Dale Earnhardt Sr., number 1 of all time, according to our list this year.
Yep, that's exactly where it should be. Exactly where it should be. Yep.
Well, my thoughts, but this is the only person that everyone had top 3.
Yes.
Yep, says it all right there. Dude, Dale Sr., man. Look, Eric just said when you think of NASCAR, first driver you think of is Petty. I got to disagree with that. You think of Dale Sr., bro. Now, obviously, before Senior's time, of course. But then, once we started getting into the late 80s, early 90s, it began to shift there, and Senior was winning his, 7th championship in 1994. I feel like after that, with all of the stuff he did for the sport and with the way he drove on track, you either loved him or hate him. He was very polarizing. So, even more than 2 decades after his death, people like outsiders ask me, hey, does Dale Earnhardt still race? I'm like, you have been watching a while, but hey, there's a reason, man. He's, most well-known and the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I had him 3rd, I guess. I didn't have him number 1. I had the 3 7-time champions at the top of my list. The reason Earnhardt was 3rd is he just had fewer wins, and you could argue he certainly didn't have the car that Petty had compared to his competition.
Yeah.
He probably didn't have the car Johnson had compared to his competition. He faced some really tough competition during his time. He beat Mark Martin for his championships, Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott. The 80s and 90s, NASCAR was getting competitive. I don't think it was maybe quite as competitive as it got to be in the 2000s and even the 2010s, but it was getting there for sure. So, I can't say anything bad about Dale Earnhardt. Would I have put him at number 1? No, I wouldn't have. I think when we're talking greatest, I'd put him 2nd or 3rd for sure, which is why I have him 3rd on my list. But we're talking best drivers. If we're talking best, I'd probably put him 3rd. I'd probably put him behind Jimmy and Jeff. If we're talking just talent. Because again, one of y'all made the point earlier, he had different crew chiefs for many of his championship seasons. Like that is impressive to be able to find that success with a different battery mate. So I don't have much else to say. I don't want to be the guy arguing against Dale Earnhardt.
You want to be that guy?
I didn't have him at number one, I guess. So sue me. I mean
he had Doug Richard for the first one, then Kirk Shelmerdine, and then Andy Petrie.
Shelmerdine for 4 of them?
And
4, I think.
And also too, what's interesting about Doug Richard in 1980, he was only 19. He had a 19-year-old crew chief, and he wanted to.
People forget he ended up being Greg Biffle's crew chief, so it wasn't like he was a bad crew chief.
No, he wasn't terrible, but he was so young,
But for me, with Earnhardt, Dale Earnhardt defines NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt, in a lot of ways, him along with Jeff Gordon, is what put NASCAR on the map. Jimmy Johnson didn't do that. I don't think Richard Petty's name was known, but Richard Petty was not part. Really, at any point, if you look at statistics of NASCAR popularity, 1992 did not see some bump up. It was the Earnhardt Gordon rivalry, which is why I put them 1-2. And I think that explains. I think it explains my thinking a lot for putting Gordon 2, because one, with that, he also Gordon was the only one who really could beat Earnhardt at any point. And I do think Gordon had better cars. I think of these guys that we talked about compared to the rest of the field, I think Earnhardt had the weakest team. I mean, you saw it even in the aftermath. Yes, RCR was really good, but they were not a Hendrick Motorsports or even a Roush or a Yates even at the time. They were probably the 4th best team on speed every week, and Earnhardt, in my opinion, willed that car up to where it ended up being. And I went back on our list and looked. Dale Earnhardt beating Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, and Rusty Wallace for 7 championships means on average, especially compared to like Jimmy Johnson and Petty, on average for our list, he actually faced the toughest competition for his championships too, by about 3 positions, because I think it was like 23 was the average rank of his championships. The next closest was 26 for his competition. He has 76 wins. He won only 1 Brickyard 400, Daytona 500, but he got 3 600s and Southern 500s. He had iconic moments like the deal at Bristol, the pass in the grass. He's the only driver to win a championship the year after his rookie year as well, beating Terry Labonte and Harry Gant, no less. And he was the closest driver ever to 8 championships. He was 12 points away in 1989 from 8, and he had a season collapse. But in 1992, about halfway through the season, he was leading the points then too. Even in his worst seasons, he was a championship level threat. And even if all things didn't go right. So for me, the numbers might not be the same as a Richard Petty or as a Jimmy Johnson, but they're also in a lot of ways not the same as a Darrell Waltrip or a Cale Yarborough, and there's not many arguments for them being better either. I'm putting Earnhardt number 1 just because for me, in pretty much every way, he defines NASCAR.
Damn, is that it?
Said.
Yeah,
we're done.
That basically covered it.
I didn't see, where did the chat have him at number 2?
Let me get it up here. Chat had him at number 2. Yes.
Okay. At least they got that one. Yeah.
But that is our top 5. We have Jeff Gordon at number 5, David Pearson at number 4, Jimmy Johnson at number 3, Richard Petty at number 2, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. is our number 1 NASCAR driver of all time. Thank you so much for all of you for submitting your votes this year. This was definitely not easy for us to do this, as you've heard in all these last few weeks. Definitely a lot of debate and back and forth from all of us. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. And let's see here. Let me just do something here real quick. I will see you guys when I'm 52 years old, as we round out the 100 greatest NASCAR drivers of all time.
And I think my opinions for a lot of these guys will probably be either the same and a lot will be different. So
yeah.
it's definitely going to be fun to see how legacies age.
But
Here's
this
the
was
question:
fun.
do you think Johnson, Earnhardt, Petty, to some degree, will still be the top 3 25 years from now?
I'll say yes. I don't think I made a video last year on it. I don't think we see a 7-time champ again. I don't even think we see a 4-time champion again.
Well, yeah,
If we keep
with the
Yeah,
playoff
format,
system.
we have, you see how many winners are getting each year now. We have such a balanced field at this point. I don't think we can possibly ever see anyone come close to that number of championships anymore.
I think
agree.
that's gonna shape people's legacies more than even wins or crown jewels. Is people are gonna look at championships. I think there will be people that say get ahead of Kevin Harvick. I still think Joey Logano could get top 10 all time easy. Like he's so young.
I mean,
and has so much time left, and he's already around that top 20 line for a lot of people.
Just thinking of this alone, think of honestly, Jimmy Johnson didn't race that long in the grand scheme of things. It was, I think he had a full-time career, less than 20 years? Is that what it was?
18, I think, yeah.
And he was able, and you think of all the great talent he raced against, and that man still whooped him 7 years out of that less than 20. I mean, that's incredible. I just don't think we see anything like that anymore in the modern age.
But what's funny? These same conversations happened after Petty won 7.
For
and
sure.
Then it happened after
sure.
Earnhardt. And now it's happening after Johnson. So we're going to say this, and then somebody's going to win 7 championships or close.
I mean,
and no one's going to appreciate it all over again.
I mean, when I'm 52, we might be talking about, Braxton Bush just won his 8th championship, guys. He's number 1 on the list.
You never know.
I'm going with time. Poke in the chat.
But damn, it's over. Appreciate it. Yep, that's the top 75 list. Feels like we just started it yesterday.
And now it's time to talk about this weekend's race. Because, guys, we are going to Daytona.
Let's go away.
As well as Milwaukee.
Ew.
That doesn't have the same ring to it. Well, Milwaukee Mile is not ew, but Milwaukee itself,
Meh.
Ever since they changed the name of Miller Park to like American Insurance Field, Milwaukee's dead to me.
Those were never the names. It's Wrigley North. That's what it is.
Giannis will be leaving the Bucks soon for any Bucks fans. He'll be gone.
Well, let's talk about the notes from this weekend. Chandler Smith will be in the number 13 Cup Series car this weekend. Riley Herbst will be driving number 36 Cup car for Front Row Motorsports. Josh Berry will be racing number 42 Cup car for Legacy Motorsports. And Austin Hill will be in the number 62 Cup car for Beard Motorsports. And also over in the Xfinity Series, Jeb Burton will be running not the number 27 because Jordan Anderson will be in that car. He instead will be running an extremely accurate number 22 Ward Burton throwing back to when Ward Burton won the Daytona 500.
I would have got some good shot there. I win.
Yeah. Please do not get into a caution of Jeb Burton because first of all, we know he can fight, and then he won't need something to throw through a window. He will just come find you and take care of you.
I don't know. I don't see any hits landing. Nobody remembers that? I thought that was the funniest troll
Chandler
job
Smith.
of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah. That's right.
That was funny.
The Cup Series race is the Coke Zero Sugar 400. It's been called this for I don't know how many years now at this point. It's still weird because it was Pepsi 400 for the longest time.
Yeah.
It's a 160-lap race. The stages are broke up into 35 laps, 65 laps, and then another 65 laps to finish it off. The start time for this is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be seen on Big NBC with radio coverage on MRN, the Motor Racing Network. Weather is surprisingly very good for this time of year. We are going to see a high of 93 degrees, so it's going to be hot. I was just at Disney not long ago, and it was extremely hot down there. It'll be very hot down in Daytona. Clear conditions, only an 11% chance of rain. Granted, it's still Florida, so we'll see what that really means. The defending winner of this race is Austin Dillon. And over in the Xfinity Series, we'll be running the Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola. This is a 100-lap race. The stages broke up as 30 laps, and another 40 laps to end it. That race starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on USA with radio coverage on MRN. Friday's weather is 90 degrees. clear conditions, and only a 3% chance of rain. The defending winner of this one, shocking defending winner, Jeremy Clements as the defending winner of this one. Then the Truck Series race will take place Sunday. This will be over at the Milwaukee Mile. The Clean Harbors 175. This is a 175 lap race with stages broke up as 55 laps, 65 laps, and the start time is at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on FS1 of radio coverage on MRN. The weather for this one is going to be very, very pleasant. 73 degrees, sunny, pleasant conditions, only a 7% chance of rain. The defending winner of this race coming from 2009, this was a very dominant season for this guy. Ron Hornaday Jr. is the last Truck Series winner at the Milwaukee Mile.
When's the
2009
last time we've had a Sunday truck race?
I think
That's
The
Wasn't
main
that
event
in a
this
minute?
weekend.
yeah.
It's
Right.
crazy, man. Well, and the thing is, they needed there to be no rain in Florida because a bunch of the Cup crews and Xfinity guys are all supposed to fly up. and
Yeah.
they wouldn't know until after the Cup race whether or not it was going to be live pit stops or not.
Yeah, our good buddy Tig, he is a crew member for Cup and Xfinity. He also does Zane Smith's truck. So I would hate to see what kind of situation he would be in if something happened.
I just realized, though, real quick before we go to the betting odds, Eric's going to really want The Rock to come back so we can talk about the defending winner of that one.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. But now for the famous betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. As I stated earlier, Chase Elliott is the odds on favorite at plus 1,100, but everyone's pretty close in terms of the favorites. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano plus 1,200, and William Byron rounds out the top 5 at plus 1,400. Now, best of the rest. Denny Hamlin tied with Byron at plus 1,400. And really close, like I said. Chris Buescher plus 1,600. Bubba Wallace plus 1,800. Ross Chastain plus 2,000, along with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. As for the underdogs, Ty Gibbs is plus 2,800. Pretty good. And Chase Briscoe plus 3,500. AJ Allmendinger plus 4,500. Todd Gilliland and Justin Haley both 6,000 apiece. And as for the NWP Fantasy League, very interesting in terms of the championship battle. Right now, Sean 48 and Wise P1, followed by Trevor Sports 98 and P2. And following an amazing week, Black Flags Matter, me, P3, Polish Victory Lap, P4, and rounding out the top 5 is Denny Delivers. As for the NWP Fantasy League 2, JC underscore 43, P1, Race Roar 48, P2, Vroom HMS P3, 42 Larson 5, P4, and rounding out the top 5 is BFM. I would have had more points, but unfortunately, I didn't know I was out of certain drivers' usage. So, so I left some points on the table, but still top 5 in each point system. But as far as points, this is the closest battle we've ever had amongst the top 5, or amongst the 5 of us for the NWP pick points.
He's a coming. Danny's a coming.
Absolutely. I had a great weekend. I had a much needed weekend. Me being the only guy to take Davenport, and that got me an extra 4 points.
That was a big Baron move right there.
Hey, Davenport, he's a beast. Anything other than NASCAR on dirt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the chat. You guys are leading with 424 points. Eric, you're slowly sliding away from him somehow.
Each week, my pick is leading and gets taken out or has something go wrong. I'm dying over here.
Eric is second, 16 points back. Jarrett is third, 40 points back. Darian is fourth, 47 points back. And I am Basement Boy, but not by very much. I'm 52 points back, and we're all making it interesting each and every single week. It's getting closer and closer.
Yeah, there's a possibility Danny just shoots up and just wins the championship. I don't know.
Every one of us hosts have had a bad stretch through the season. Chad hasn't yet. They're due. And the playoffs get even more chaotic than ever.
Perfect timing.
A weekend like this, man, anything can happen.
Exactly.
Let's get to it.
Let's go.
Yes. So let's start with even though it's the last race of the weekend, we're still going to start the Truck Series race. Eric, who will win the Truck Series race?
He just got his first win of the season. I guess Milwaukee Mile is not technically a short track, but it's in this guy's home state of Wisconsin. Ty Majeski. I'm rolling with him.
All right, man, I'm going with you and with Majeski on that one.
It is ham time. Corian.
I'm going with Old Faithful here. I'm going with Zane Smith on this one.
Mm-hmm. In the chat, I'm seeing a lot of 98.
They are going with Majeski. I don't think we have to debate on that. It's
98.
Majeski.
Yep,
Fair
Majeski. It is. I see that.
So we've got mainly Majeski, we got Heim Time, and we got Zane Smith.
Yeah.
My next two picks are a little more interesting, chat. So we'll see how we differ,
Mhm.
hopefully.
The Xfinity Series. Eric, who wins this one?
So my last couple weeks in Xfinity, I feel like I picked the clear favorite. They've raced like the clear favorite, like Ty Gibbs this past weekend. Clear favorite, ran up front, was going to win that race, got taken out, got wrecked. So I haven't had much luck picking the clear favorites. I'm going to go with someone who is in a good car, maybe a little bit of a sleeper pick. He's not like a back marker by any means, but I'm going with Trevor Bayne. I'm just going to say it. Hasn't driven a NASCAR race in like a year. We know he's a good super speedway racer. He's in a good car. Why not? Happy return to NASCAR, Trevor Bayne, 30-something years old.
Mhm.
Enjoy a Mahalo coffee.
Damn, that
And-
500 was over 10 years ago. It's crazy.
And also enjoy seeing the back of my pick. I think you're going to be seeing Austin Hill winning this race.
This guy's due for a win. I feel like he's kind of had, it's been up and down. His teammate already has too. Josh Berry, coming clutch.
I think this is his last Xfinity race of the year, and he needs to win this because he's never had a season where he didn't win an Xfinity Series race in a long time. And he's driving a car for a team that's been very good at this track in recent years. I'm going with Kyle Busch driving that 10 car for Colleague Racing.
Well, all five of us have different picks because I think the chat's going, or actually, no, never mind.
The chat is going to Austin Hill.
Yeah. So basically, most of us have different picks. But yeah, Austin Hill it is.
All right.
And then finally, for the Cup Series race, who is going to suck, Eric?
I'll just go Kevin Harvick. I just don't feel like that team's had it going, and Daytona doesn't really suit him. So
Wait, I swear I thought Kyle Busch was in the Xfinity race.
Oh, he's not. Justin Haley, they're saying.
Haley's
So,
in the 10.
You might as well just pick Haley. That's still a good pick.
You know what? Sure, leave it as Haley.
All right, Haley it is.
But he was on the entry list. I don't know what happened.
Must have changed last
He was
minute or
on. I think he
something.
was on the end. No, was it Allmendinger ran out, I think, of starts. Like you can only make 5 starts. I don't know if Bush did as well.
Actually, no. I don't want Haley. I haven't trusted him all year. You
All right,
know
you
what? So I'm going to Austin Hill. I'm going to
Okay.
Austin Hill.
All right. So 3 picking Hill. All right.
But before this one, he was on the entry list. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Oh, Peter says it wasn't updated. Okay. That's cool.
Okay.
I'm going
Huh?
with Alex Bowman. I don't see him doing very well.
Well, the lights are too bright. Chase Elliott.
I'm going with Joey Logano. I don't know why. I just don't know if Joey Logano's going to do good in this one.
In the chat, I'm seeing a bunch of different ones. I don't know, just give him Elliott. I see multiple
they're going
Elliots.
Elliott.
Yeah, just give
You're
him Elliott.
going at Elliott. Jesus.
Yeah, just give him Elliott.
Oh my
The dark
God.
horse time.
Yep. Who is the dark horse, Eric?
Austin Cindric hasn't done a thing all year. Arguably the most disappointing driver outside of Legacy Motor Club this season, but he's decent at super speedways.
I agree. I think Austin's going to do pretty well. Austin Dillon. He's the dark horse. He's the defending winner. Come on. I mean, and he's
Yeah, no,
not
that's
a bad
fair.
he's not a bad super speedway racer. I think he'll be solid.
Hey, Daytona was swept by Austin last year.
Yeah.
Daytona.
He only needed the whole field to wreck to have a shot. But yeah, he's still a decent plate racer or super speedway racer for sure. But I'm going to go with someone who he got a top 10 early in the season, and he has a sweet looking ride this weekend. And you know what? I think to some extent there will be some sort of attrition, especially towards the end. And he will be there at the end. Riley Herbst in the 36 Monster Ford.
I like it. There are
Yeah.
3 Monster Energy cars in this race. Have y'all
Yep.
looked at
Hey,
the pictures?
spotters,
Love it.
spotters, be ready, spotters. Come on.
I think some of them will be slightly different No, I don't know. Once they revealed Herp's scheme, I
It
think
was all
they're
black.
going to look
It was-
pretty similar.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's the same.
Monster Energy's brand guidelines, they will not allow you to have anything other than a black car.
Or a diecast.
Yeah, or a diecast. You're not allowed to have a toy car.
Man, whatever.
My underdog, although I think the goose is cooked for him, I think he can have a good finish here. He got a top 5 at the Daytona 500 this year. Alex Bowman is my underdog.
Go.
Let's hope.
All right. In the chat, I'm seeing a lot of 38s.
I have
Yeah.
seen a few Todd Gillilands. That might be
Just
their
give him.
pick.
We might as well give him Todd.
Give him
It looks
Todd,
like, yeah.
because I don't think they're picking Todd to win. So
Nah.
like give him as many choices
All right,
to win.
there you go. They got Todd Blue as their pick. Todd.
Oh, geez, remember. All right. And now it's time for the main event. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win this weekend at Daytona? Eric?
Well, actually, the Truck Series is the main event. They're the headliners on Sunday.
Oh,
but-
come on now. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, they're better than those shrubs
Yeah.
at
Hey,
Daytona.
don't forget IndyCar is racing on Sunday too. NBC.
There you go.
I'll be there.
No, my win pick for the Cup race, man, RFK is peaking at the right time, and let's not forget how fast Brad Keselowski was in February. Brad Keselowski gonna win this race.
So
Nearly won Atlanta too.
So I went back. I wonder if I have my numbers on me right here, but I went back and looked at those guys on the cut line and kind of like, what are they doing? Are they going to be up, racing towards the front, or are they going to have problems? And in the Gen 7 era, nobody of those outside who hasn't won, because I have a feeling that this guy's a little due, has been more solid at super speedways, and especially this year, than my pick. Yes, he had a rough Daytona 500. Yes, he influenced the finish of the race, bringing out the caution. But I think Daniel Suarez is somebody that's riding under the radar. I won't pick him to win the Cup race this weekend.
Wow. So you're picking Suarez to make the playoffs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Where is this coming from? All right,
I
okay.
looked, and especially even points-wise, I mean, Bubba's struggled a lot in the Gen 7 era. Ty Gibbs, we don't have enough on him yet. He can have that Toyota help, but
Yeah.
I'm going Suarez.
God, I hate this Noah Coleman in the chat with he got turned. Just reminding me of that awful call at the end of the
No,
race.
yeah.
I'm seeing a
Well-
lot of 77s in the chat. That's a good pick. Y'all should keep picking 77.
So I had this guy missing the playoffs. Now he's above the cut line. Pretty good history on super speedways. As far as the playoffs are concerned, I don't see anyone below the cut line making it, because Bubba Wallace is going to win and just lock up his spot in the playoffs.
So my pick before this year had not won on a super speedway since 2008. And then at Talladega, he finally won again. In 2008, he won Talladega in the spring. He also won Daytona in the summer.
Ooh.
And he was very close to winning Daytona 500 this year. He's been really good on those super speedways this year. His team in general has good equipment on the super speedways. And since I can't pick him on the Xfinity race, I'm going to pick him for the Cup race, Kyle Busch to win.
There you go.
All right,
There
okay.
you go. And now the chat. Moment of truth.
They're
I'm seeing a
going
lot of
Brad.
sixes. Oh, yeah, Brad, it is.
Oh,
Bad
there's a lot of
Brad.
77.
I'm seeing a lot of
There's
77s. They're gonna-
77s.
Okay, I got
Hold
to
it
hold this because it really is.
Hey,
Pull it
poll,
up.
poll
Let's
6 and
go,
77.
baby.
Hey,
You did this to yourself, chat.
y'all did that. Oh, they're still putting 77, bro. No way.
You did this to yourself.
No way, y'all. Bro,
Hey,
Wait.
Ty Dillon's sneaky good. I'm just saying. He's
got okay. All right. Come on, guys. All right.
I have to go pee when I come back. I hope that 77's winning the poll.
Okay.
So someone share this to IDK's group because they made it work for Almirola last time.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Oh man. But anyways, got
I'm
one
gonna
final-
give this a while because I got a lot of
Yeah.
super chats. I'm giving you all a while for this one.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danny. Got one more thing to do.
When we last left off, we read our super chat from Jay Booker. So we're going to move on to rocks, reviews, and reactions for $5. Sup, guys? Y'all see the Ark Encounter in Kentucky is sponsoring Jeffrey Earnhardt this week? He was talking to Ken Ham in a video. Found it pretty cool. I did see that video, and I need to go see the Ark Encounter. It's probably not that far away in Kentucky. It'd be a cool thing to go check that out sometime. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool to see them on board of Jeffrey Earnhardt. They were pretty happy to be working with him. Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate it, 99. Your message is retracted. I don't know what you said, man, but appreciate the donation. Always see you, and good to hear from you as always, Matt Hunter. Matthew Brown, appreciate it, 999. I'm a big fan of the saying, "The harder I work, the luckier I get." William Byron goes all in to improve himself as a driver on and off the track. He's championship ready. Period. Coming from a Larson fan. So that's pretty interesting take on that one. Fire Pile 129, appreciated $2. Any other crew chief would have 100 wins of drivers he had. Talk about Alan Gustafson, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't think he should be fired or anything. Need for Speed 5353, appreciated $2. The nine team did meth instead of math.
Oh,
I had to think about if I could say it or not, but I think I can say that.
God.
Shorty PJM, appreciate the $5. Bubba Fan Pro, he almost had me crying proud tears from his interview. Con, been having bad mini breakdowns all week, fearing Daytona. I can understand that.
Yeah. Have fun.
It can either be really great for Bubba or it can be really bad.
Yeah.
A lot of things can happen there. Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate it, 99. I guess this is where your super chat went. It doesn't matter 2014 or 2023 HMS. None of them touched the greatest team ever assembled. 2023 SHR.
Good point. Yep. Hey, hard to argue with that.
Yeah, that's just facts and logic right there.
Hard to argue with that. Championship contenders, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be my new meme.
People without the E, appreciate the $2. Who is the Michael Waltrip Racing this week? Who will spin on purpose? William Byron's got a tire down. William Byron's got a tire down.
Yeah, you just spin in front of the pack.
I don't see that happening at Daytona.
Oh man.
No.
Although I
No.
I'm telling you, I'll keep voting for that 77. They're mounting a comeback.
Oh, my
no.
God.
Yeah,
We still have a
Chad.
lot of time, guys. There's a lot of super chats to
Yeah.
get through, and you know, if anyone wants to super chat more, I mean, this just keeps going longer and
Hey.
longer. I mean,
Every new super chat equals 1% to the 77.
Hey,
Yeah.
you said the 9 teams on meth who were that super chat was. Hey, chat, you're close to it. If you pick the 77.
I really expected it to be like the same guy over and over. When I saw it was a bunch of people, I was like, they're doing this to themselves.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right. CBB, appreciate the $5. I thought the 9 might be in trouble when Bubba Wallace qualified above him on a road course. Didn't think his season would literally run out of gas, though.
Damn.
Oh,
Oh, damn. Damn. That's deep.
West Virginia, appreciate the 199. Bowman gonna win the Daytona Battle Royale. Oh, with the Fortnite reference.
Yeah, hey, he could play Fortnite
Hey.
after the race. You know, he can win on there.
Hey, don't rule it out.
Yeah. Hey, what drivers do you think would get together and play Fortnite in a rain delay?
Probably. Well, Hamlin and Larson have played games.
Harrison
before.
Burton, Todd Gillen, I think that group. The guys who are doing Wii Sports.
You're right. Yeah. those
Yeah,
two.
definitely. Austin Blandset, appreciate it, 999. Hot take, I don't think Toyota is in the sport in 10 years. Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at the graveyard of teams that died when they switched. They have next to nothing in the pipeline.
Damn.
They have almost no Xfinity teams. That's true.
Kind of how we talked about Ford a little while back too.
And now they're back to being some of the ones who are getting
Yeah.
the most teams again.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll cycle again.
Need for Speed 5353. I appreciate that $5. Ross Chastain is racing at my local dirt track tomorrow. It's really cool he's doing that because it's going to bring in so many people. That is pretty cool.
That is awesome. Glad he's doing that.
Definitely go check that out.
Yeah.
Andrew Meyer, appreciate the $5. I find it funny that NASCAR adds more road courses and is trying to get more short tracks, and they build a car that sucks on both.
Yeah. So until then, let's stop. Let's cut it out.
Yeah. Let's find a way to get it to the track it's good at. So
Yeah.
Tom's Banana Cakes, appreciate the $5. To be fair, I thought the Cup race was pretty good. I was at the track and enjoyed the battle between the 11 and 24. 34 had the fastest car, but didn't execute. That's pretty true.
Yeah.
Glad you had a fun time there.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Watkins Glen yet. I need to go.
Me too.
That's on my list.
Me too.
Groovy Goose, appreciate $1.99. Ty and Sam didn't even exchange car insurance. The salt. Ross Crash saying, appreciate the $5. No passing, sub 2 hour race, NASCAR taking this Netflix series thing a little too literally.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Oh my God, does this mean we're the Netflix series now?
Hey, we
no,
might
don't-
be.
don't
We
tell
might
Dale.
be. We might be.
I'm gonna charge $100 for a hat and $1,000 for a ticket pronto.
Yeah, I gotta.
No,
hey, I'm gonna
I'm-
see.
I'm guaranteeing it, man. I'm guaranteeing it. Soon as it pops up on the Netflix new page, trending, whatever stuff like it pops up on for people, you're gonna have F1 fans going straight to Twitter just to bitch about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Dale this weekend, so I gotta tell him, ask him how he's gonna
Do a
do
TikTok
that.
with him.
Yeah,
2024 Chicago street race tickets about to be sold at Costco.
Hey, why not? Hey, get him
Hey,
out
we're
of
gonna
that.
charge people who live here and have businesses here for being here.
Yeah.
$1.99 coming in from Davy Jones. Jarrett, the Kraken shall be released upon you.
Ooh.
I don't want to say the joke I just thought of. So no,
I could probably, knowing your humor, I can probably imagine. Tyler McGonigal appreciated $1.99. Another big hat Byron beatdown. 5 wins. Let's go.
Let's go.
Glad
Tyler
someone's excited.
Tyler McGonigal following up another $4.99. Part 1. I, for one, absolutely loved road course racing in NASCAR. My dream is to have NASCAR at Virginia International Raceway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, honestly, my ranking is road courses and then Darlington.
Yeah, I would love that.
It's its own type, man. It's its own type.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not a bad ranking. Darlington should be. high on the list.
Wait. This is why he had it as part 1. And honestly, okay, he left another $4.99. I'll just say that right now. We'll go to part 2. And honestly, my ranking is road courses, Darlington, intermediate oval, super speedways, and short tracks last. I've been watching since the late Gen 4 era, and I love road course racing even now.
Cool. That's what's up.
Austin Blanchett, appreciate the $4.99. If Jimmy Johnson's above Jeff Gordon, I'm breaking necks. Oh, well,
Damn.
Guys, lock your doors tonight.
Damn. Hey,
let me
I got my
let
bat ready.
me just help you.
I'm gonna have my bat ready by my bed.
Larso, appreciate the $2. All NASCAR wins are overvalued, not competitive. That kind of went into what me and
Damn.
Jarrett were talking about with Petty a little bit.
Damn.
Tyler wait, no, that was a part 2. My bad. Davy Jones, appreciate the $4.99 again. Just for putting Gordon second, Jarrett shall be spared the Kraken. Everyone else, release the Kraken. It's the locker for Eric, Darian, and Danny B.
Oh, not the smelly locker. No.
Davy Jones has got us, boys.
Yeah.
Austin Blanchett went on a generous run here. Appreciate the $9.99. Jeff Gordon has a better average finish than Jimmy. He has more wins. He won more at 1.5 miles, short tracks, and road courses. Anyone who says Jimmy being better on this list than Jeff is illogical. Championships don't lie, though. I just got to say that.
Yeah. Hey, men lie, women lie, stats
Hey,
don't.
by the way, this poll doesn't lie either. It's
Wait, hold on.
5%.
Ooh, guys. Hey, keep reading. Hey, read slowly, Danny. So
Austin Blanchett, appreciate the $1.99.
No, don't read it like you're sipping lean, bro. Come on now.
I'm physically ill right now with how low Jeff is.
Don't blame me.
Oh man.
Austin
Don't blame me
Blanchett.
either.
Austin Blanchett, appreciate again, $4.99. Danny and Darian, I love y'all like brothers, but you lost credibility with me about that Gordon selection. I love y'all, but you're wrong.
Come on, bro. Pearson clears, bro. Pearson
Yeah.
clears.
Yeah, I agree.
I guys, it's amazing, man. We did our top 5 list. Actually, what we did is we uncovered a freaking salt mine.
Josh Bob, appreciate the $1.99. Rand Quest, has anyone covered pre-con Dover? I don't know what this means.
Pre-configured.
I don't know.
I think.
Oh, pre-configured. Okay.
If that's what I'm thinking of.
No.
I didn't know, just like some Comic-Con at Dover. I didn't know about.
Comic-Con.
Everyone dresses Miles.
Austin Blanchett.
I'll start.
Yeah, Austin Blanchett, appreciate the 4.99 again. Earnhardt better be above Petty. No disrespect to Petty, but Dale won those titles with lesser equipment than Petty. Well, hey, we did get him on that
I
one.
got you. We got you, bro. Got you.
Jupiter Rain, appreciated $2. Jimmy had more wins as senior and more competitive era.
Yeah, you can make that argument too. Damn, everybody giving their opinion. Hey, I love
love
this.
it.
I love this, bro.
There's lots of good reasons at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Sly Supersonic, appreciate the $10.06. Hey, Fantastic Four, if there's one developer that deserves a second chance, it's Polyphony Digital. They are the makers of Gran Turismo, GT5 and GT6 both had NASCAR in them, and I think they did pretty good. Hey, for what it's worth, at least they were kind of fun games to play.
Hey, Gran Turismo 5, bro, that Super Speedway package. Ooh, that was.
I raced this track 100 times in the game.
Like, bro, the cars would go like I think like 220 in the draft.
I'm gonna go see that movie this weekend, and I kind of expect it to be bad, but I'm still gonna watch it.
I've heard.
I heard it's good.
good.
Yeah, 98% Rotten Tomatoes, and also fun fact: the main actor, the light skinned dude, that's actually him, the driver. That's based on him.
No shit.
Yeah. Swear to God, it's crazy.
Well, no. Oh, sorry.
It's him.
No, there's an actor playing him.
No. It's him. It's actually him. He's the driver. That's him. I'll look it up again, but I swear to God.
No. It's an actor playing him, but in the driving scenes, it's the driver who's in the car.
Well, let me look that up again.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's the driver who's doing the stunts, but there is an actor playing him.
Orlando Bloom's in it. I might give it a chance.
Give me a second.
Davy Jones is in there, and Orlando
You're
Bloom.
right. I don't know what this one podcast said it was him. I don't know why. But anyways,
you can't trust anything the podcast says.
He is the driver in the stunts, at least.
Okay, there you go.
Austin Blanche.
Oh, my bad. The poll. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I was like, what?
Sorry, the poll.
Looking like your computer just exploded or something.
My mind's exploding from the poll.
And they keep giving more super chats, so they're wanting this to go longer. Austin Blanchett, appreciate the $1.99. As a Gordon fan, Dale is by far the greatest ever. And yeah, we agreed on that.
Nice. Okay.
Very, very generous. Appreciate this one. A Prada, $49.99. Very generous review. With all, they were generous because it starts off with all due respect, Danny and Darian. So it's about to get.
There we go.
It's about to get interesting. With all due respect, Jeff has the most crown jewel wins in NASCAR history, including 4 consecutive Southern 500s. Jeff Gordon won 81 races from 1994 through 2007, averaging 6 wins in that stretch with 7 top 2 points finishes. Y'all overlooked. Sorry.
What was that? Like, no. Now it's a good point. Now it's good points, bro.
That's a strong argument. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon is great. No one's denying that.
Damn, Jeff Gordon, bro. Hey, they love them some Jeff Gordon, bro.
People appreciate the $2. We need a stage YF with 10 to go to make endings good. What the YF? Oh, yellow flag.
You want it, bro?
We're not the SRX.
I don't think we need more yellows.
NASCAR tried that before with the caution clock in the truck series, and it didn't work.
NASCAR, you did this with stages, bro. You did this. Now we get stuff like this.
Irvin Alvarado, appreciate the $4.99. The top 75 1 through 5 reveal sent the chat to a salt mine accident.
Yes, sir.
That it did. There was punches flying. That is for sure on that one. Nick Mangona, appreciate $2. Oddly enough, punches will be thrown if Dick Pacer is not number 1.
Hey, Watkins Glen winner 2021, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Gavin Novak, appreciate the $5. How is Tom Cruise not number 1? They made a movie about him.
Oh yeah, because we're gonna lose. Tom Cruise invented NASCAR.
That's what I'm saying.
Marky Mark, appreciate the $2. Who's gonna flip at Daytona?
Hopefully no one.
Hopefully no one.
Yeah, hopefully. No one.
Once you've seen it happen, especially one as scary as Ryan Newman's, you don't want to see it happen again.
Yeah, especially in person. Yeah.
Trevor Bailey, appreciate you being a member for 4 months of the NWP Superfans. Sup, guys? How's life? And RIP Bozo Motorsports Gaming.
Yes, sir. R.I.P. We're gonna be smoking on that pack tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ross Crash Stain, appreciate it, $2. Vote for Ty. Need for Speed, 5353. Appreciate it, $2. Super chat. Austin Blandset, appreciate the $4.99. Just FYI, I still love y'all. I can disagree and still love y'all. It's all love.
Of course, it's all love, but really,
appreciate it, Austin.
Really quick, my mom's trying to convince the chat now. It's 51-49, bro. 51-49.
You got to do it for BFM Mom, okay? Mom says so. You got to do it.
Hey, for real.
Y'all pick who you truly think is gonna win. I don't want to skew the chat.
Nick, man, you idiot.
Hey. Polls don't lie. That this could mean that they really want him, Eric. Okay?
I guess, but I pick who you actually think is gonna win. Yeah. I don't want to gain points because y'all just
last year Cody Ware was in contention to win. So like that's
you never know.
That's true.
That's true.
This car has won at Daytona before.
That's true.
Yeah,
won't be the same conditions.
Not a lie though. Not a lie. Alessandro Sebastian, appreciate the $5. Disappointed in you guys except Danny B for not placing David Pearson #1 on top 75 list. A very underappreciated driver.
Hey, we got him top 5, bro. Come on, he's on my Mount Rushmore.
He does get underappreciated because people only see the 3 titles. But I think at this point, almost everyone at least has him top 5. I think like a good number of people know the Silver Fox at this point.
Oh yeah, he won 3. That's right. Forgot about that. All right.
Napa Racing Fan 927, appreciate the $5. Is NASCAR returning to TNT in 2025? Amazon or CBS, if possible, PGA are better options. TNT is going backwards. Maybe CW with the Xfinity deal.
Hey, we get the NBA crew to cover NASCAR. Shaq.
Yeah, I want Shaq to be talking about Chase Elliott to the Guangdong Tigers.
Oh, it's 50. It's 50-50, bro. 50-50, bro.
I still got some super chats here, so
yeah, keep going.
Hang on. Rocks reviews and reactions, appreciate $2. DannyBTalks, could you read Eric our chat? He was gone. Well, I think I did earlier.
Did I miss one? I'm sorry.
Which one was it?
Was there one for me?
Wait. Hold on. Let me go back. Yeah, you were gone this time. Okay. Sup, guys? Y'all see the ARC Encounter in Kentucky is sponsoring Jeffrey Earnhardt this week. He was talking to Ken Ham in a video. Found that pretty cool.
Interesting.
Maybe he has a sponsor. I don't know much about the ARC Encounter. I've seen the commercials.
It seems like a pretty cool thing. I've never been to it, but it's probably not far, so I need to go check it out. Napa Racing Fan 927, appreciate that $2. NBC says playoff 500, not Southern 500 next week. What? Playoff 500?
Playoff 5. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what he's referring to.
Because some people argue, I guess, that the Southern 500 has been overshadowed by now being the playoff opener.
Oh, yeah.
That's what people think of it more as, I guess.
As much as I'd like to click in poll, I'm going to be fair and do this.
Yeah, be fair. Be fair.
Need for Speed 5353, appreciate that $2. Poll never ends. Need for Speed 5353, $2. Silly time. William Boyd, $1.99. Thanks for all y'all do. Love the weekly content. It looks like that was his first super chat, so I appreciate that, William.
Thanks, bro.
Very kind of you to say.
Thank you.
Marky Mark, appreciate the $5. Michael Scott voice. Goodbye, MG Motorsports Games. It's been nice. Hope you find your paradise. Need for Speed 5353. Appreciate it, $2. Never ends. Need for Speed 5353. Appreciate it, $2.
He might blow it for him now.
Funny. Need for Speed 5353. Appreciate it, $2. 77 moment. Palm Tree 82. Appreciate it, $2. $2 towards the Daytona Ty Dillon playoff run. And
that's it.
Paul.
He's filibustering for Ty Dillon.
That's it. Who won?
I'm serious. They're gonna win with that. You watch. They're gonna win.
They will. He's been close to winning here before. I actually remember a few times he was up there.
Ty Dillon gonna have an engine failure lap 5, bro.
I didn't think it actually worked. I figured if I went longer, they would come in, but it happened.
It happened.
I love how they're blaming me. I just put 77. I didn't freaking vote for it.
Bro, you can only vote once, by the way.
Not if you have separate accounts.
Oh yeah, true that. Yeah,
my,
all the chat, I guess,
my-
all the chat needs to hope is that Keselowski gets caught up in a wreck and Ty
Yeah.
Dillon doesn't.
my
But,
wife just texted me and said I scared Shugs.
Yeah. Oh man. But hey, thanks, mom. Thanks for helping. I appreciate it.
Ty Dillon, everybody. That's
Ty
the chat's
Dillon.
pick.
Yep. Hey, I know that Ty
So
Dillon account.
let's
That's it.
run through. The chat has Ty Dillon. I had Kyle Busch. A couple of y'all had Brad Keselowski, right?
Eric does.
Eric
do.
does. And who was the other ones?
I got Suarez and Darian has Bubba.
Man, here we go. Here we
Count the
go.
mail-in ballots for Ty Dillon.
Stop the count. Stop it.
I really thought when I clicked in poll, it would not be the winner. And also here's a $4.99 from A Prod. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, did you count all the mail-in ballot for Ty Dillon asking for a friend?
Oh yeah, gotta make sure we count them all. But
$4.99 from Tyler Tinsley. Appreciate that, Tyler. Can't believe I was here for the Eric Umbrella and Ty Dillon incident. NWP 400 was great, by the way.
What's
yeah,
up, Tinsley?
appreciate it. What's up, bro?
How's it going,
How's
man?
how's it going, Tyler?
What's up, dog?
Well, unless another one comes in, I'm probably going to miss it because it's time to go. You can join us next week, August 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on Black Flags Matter channel for NWP, where we're going to break down everything that happened this weekend from Ty Dillon's big win at Daytona, and we'll preview the start of the playoffs coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's gonna be a fun show next weekend. But hey, this one was fun. I think this is by far the longest we've done. But hey, felt like we just started. So that's what happens when you
To be
have
fair,
fun.
a lot
Fun time.
that actually turned into one super chats, but also the top 75 list that lasted
Yeah.
like way longer than usual.
Oh yeah, because by the time we got done, I think it was like 9 o'clock my time. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's been fun. We'll see y'all later.
Yep.
All right.
Goodbye.
Peace out. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Ty Dillon's gonna win.
Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready? What the copy? Right foot down. We had to go, Brad. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great.